this today. You ready? Okay, let's just start with a quick reminder of our ground rules from yesterday. I swear it worked. It worked.
The group's not responding on it.
I come here. When she saved it, it didn't work anymore.
What do you mean?
She downloaded it. Can you plug this in?
You want me to go find a postage too? Should ask for money, I would have gone, so.
He just likes the comfort. Okay, we're good. Oh, you're such a genius, Chelsea.
Would have been our first clue.
It worked.
Okay, we have our ground rules from yesterday. I think we did great with our ground rules yesterday. Everybody good with that? We can move on? All right. Today's meeting, the purpose of today's meeting, yesterday we said we would be happy if we did these things. Adjourn on time, know where we're going, process to show others. Put it up here for you. Well, I didn't put it up. Anyway, I think we did it. I think we did it. We adjourned on time. We've got a sense of where we're going, right?
Yeah, we did.
Process to show others. Everybody can follow the process that we put in place. We have our mission, our vision, our goals, our values, they all align. We have a valuable product, a value product and plan. Our input is clear. We're going to do a lot more of the planning today. So I'm feeling good about, we did what we were hoping to do yesterday. How about you? You feeling good?
Yeah.
All right. So today, we've got to review the work that we completed, which is what this packet's all about. And we'll run through that together. Finalize your mission and vision statement. Talk about your core areas of focus. And then we're going to informally structure your plan. And finally, next steps. Here's your agenda, which you've already seen. This is what we'll be doing today. We have this. And so we'll start with the main thing, which we wrote yesterday, and it's recorded in your handouts here so you can look at it for yourself. So just to reiterate, provide and manage affordable services that enhance quality of life for Gateway Community Development District. Very clear. Very good. Everybody feeling good about that?
Yep.
Are we missing someone?
Doug's
Doug.
on a
Doug.
work call, he'll be in 5 minutes.
He always likes a dramatic entrance.
Okay. And then our success. Our success statement is really, really good. I want to take one more look at it. Make sure we're feeling good. It's on your handout too. It's in the green box here on your handout. You can look at it for yourself. Just want to give everybody a minute to look at it one more time. Now that you've had a little time to think.
The only thing which, Daniel kind of mentioned it yesterday, and I thought about it some last night, is we don't talk about future. Planning for the future.
That'll come in today, I think.
But on here for our success, preparing, planning for the future, if it's both internally or externally.
It feels to me like when we say things like our community assets and services are
It's
improved and
implied,
maintained,
maybe.
we're talking about the future, financial viability and integrity. I mean, it
Right.
seems to me like everything's kind of the future. Today, we're going to kind of divide it into long and short-term goals. I mean, if we want to say something like, you know, we're always future-oriented, I mean, if you feel like that's, if you need to state it specifically, we sure can. I do feel like it's,
It'll probably come out in the
I
goals.
feel like it's a thread all through everything here. I mean, because, you know, I mean, honestly, you know, 5 minutes from now, the future. And what can happen in 5 minutes, right?
You don't want to answer that,
I know.
Look behind you.
Look at me like, yeah, I know.
Bob, give you 2 bagels.
So does that seem comfortable?
Yeah,
You,
I think that's
Chelsea?
good.
You feel okay with that? Anything else that anyone wants to? The only thing that I looked at last time when I was rereading it, that struck a little thing in my head, and then I dismissed it, but I'll tell you, just in case after I'm gone, you go ding. Our community is recognized and respected for providing enhanced quality of life for all residents. And when we went back and did a couple of our other things, like the main thing, we took out residents because we realized it's the whole district.
Everyone, yeah.
But I think in this case, I think that's what you really that really is what you want, is to improve the quality of life of residents. And then for everybody else, it's kind of different. I mean, this is
Because
really
commercial's
about,
not a quality of life.
Yeah.
yeah, I
And
mean,
basically, it's not a quality of life, it's,
I don't have any problem.
so after I went ding, I went, wait, I think that's right. But I wanted to bring it up to you, just full disclosure.
I think 6 captures the rest.
Okay. So we feel okay with that? Good. All right. We got it? Good to move on?
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, our mission and vision. They're on your sheet, right on the front page. You know what's funny is last night at 3 o'clock in the morning when I woke up, I had already memorized your vision. I was so proud.
I had to go check the notes.
I think I fell asleep before I got to mission, but anyway. Support, manage, and provide quality services to all within the Gateway Community Development District. I think that's great. Maintain Gateway's position as a premier community of choice. So once this is approved, you guys should try to memorize this too. I mean, really, that's the point of it being so short, is that you don't have to look for it on the website. You know it. You know, to have to research and not know where your mission is, and that's not a good thing for an organization, right? So that's something we really have to fix with this.
We should get these printed out and post them around the different offices in different places, especially as you have employee turnover and stuff.
So this is something we'll bring up with President's Council.
And
Put
set
it on the
the
flip side of
expectations.
business cards.
Good idea.
You know, when we talk, in our goals, we talk about transparency and communication. We should include that as one of our goals for sure. That'd be a short-term goal, to make sure to get this out once it's approved.
Ought to be when you go to the GSCD website, it's the first thing that's on there.
Whose website?
Our website. It just includes-
Oh, yeah, it should be there for first thing, right. Now, do you feel like you already are a premier community of choice?
Yes.
you're one of them, I think.
I was worried about the word maintain. I was thinking maintain.
We hear that over and over again, it's awesome.
Yeah, I feel
I
like
mean,
that. 'Cause
I think
like
Pelican
surroundings,
has no
you
problem.
know, yeah.
Identifying
we're
as
a-
premier.
premier community. I don't know about Gateway.
I think so.
I think so,
Okay.
giving our options
Well, market-
geographically
market value
and
too.
around, yeah.
Well, before I came here, I lived in Kansas City, and I knew a Gateway there.
Ah,
Knew a guy that lived here. It was definitely Gateway and Naples. Naples was more general, Gateway was very specific.
that's cool. Okay, I just wanted to check in. I did talk to a couple of your residents, and they believe that it is a premier community of choice. So,
Yeah, we tell them that when we give them the tax.
do you? That probably cost a little extra. All right, so feeling solid.
Quick question
Yeah.
before we go any, for you guys over there, I should know, but I don't. Here, we have 50 HOAs within the Gateway side, and we have it's diverse, different. Each community is a little bit different.
Good saying
You do have,
that. We got 43, depending on whether it's like Casella, they're unique.
but you don't have like an area where you have kids, like over my
Oh, no,
community,
no.
we don't have any kids. But you go over to Cypress K or Bristol Park, and there's a lot of
Like
kids.
some of our
Hampton
unique
Park
communities,
and Stony Brook have a lot of kids too.
yeah, they don't have kids, but they have their own pool area. Like Palazzo has a pool area, Casella, different pools.
Prado.
Broader doesn't have a pool, does it?
No.
So
Well, I was just
Casella-
wondering, do you have the
Casella.
disparity that we have in age and family structure and that kind of
No.
stuff over there? Because you're 55 and over, you're pretty well, you've just got old and older.
Dying and dead.
But you probably have
Well,
visitors,
I
grandkids,
think
and-
legally, 70% of those
Must be
residing in
55.
Pelican Preserve must be 55 or older.
And they have to check.
So you can have some younger people, you know,
But there's no kids, no
somebody
children.
could,
No, I think it's,
We have a prohibition against children,
uh, yes.
young children.
Yes, but if you're in like if you have kids in your 20s and 30s and they come to live with you, they can,
That's okay.
that's
Oh,
okay.
But not at 11 and 12.
Right, not in school.
Minor children. Okay,
We don't want any school buses.
I see. Thank you for that. Okay. We did our SCOT analysis, remembered challenges instead of weaknesses, but whatever you choose to call it. And I printed that for you on your sheet, so you have it. Our strengths, our challenges, they're all on your sheet there. You look at it. And our opportunities and threats. Listed everything that you wrote. Feeling good there? All right. So we're at that point where we're going to start looking at writing some goals. And someone I talked to on the phone said, we need to make sure before we start writing goals that we know how to write an effective goal. So we're going to spend 2 minutes just talking about how to write an effective goal. And I know that probably all of you have experience in writing goals, so I certainly don't want to insult you, but it's a good reminder for us just to remember, that whole formula. I think the problem is that I'm too far away, that it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timed. SMART goals. So it needs to be specific. It needs to be something we can measure. But, measurement, we get stuck on that sometimes because there are some things that are really difficult to measure with numbers. But there are other ways to measure. Like, are we communicating effectively? How do you measure that with a number? You can't, but you can outline expectations that if we are communicating effectively, then every employee knows our mission. If we are communicating effectively, our mission pops up first on our website. If we are communicating effectively, there's a sign in the window at headquarters that are, on the wall that gives the mission and vision. If we're communicating effectively, all our board members can recite them. So, those kind of measures. So don't get caught up on measure like, oh, how are we ever going to count those widgets? Because not everything's about widgets, right? Achievable. Let's not set ourselves up for something that we absolutely can't do. It has to be something that's possible, that it's relevant, of course. It's relevant to what we're doing. And finally, we want some kind of a timeline. Now, for the purpose today, it's a lot to ask you to put, this is going to be done January 1st, 2058 or whatever. Well, I'm going to try to focus on a short term and long term. And that's one of the things that you want to work on over time is what would those dates be?
What's short and long? 3 years,
That's
5
the
years?
question. That's what I wanted to ask you.
Define that.
What do you think? You told me you want to talk about, 3 to 5 years out. I think we can talk 20 years out even.
Depends upon our business. If you're talking utility side, you could be talking 20, 30 years.
Mhm.
If you're talking about something else, it might be significantly less than that.
Well, if we were trying to prioritize by having our short-term and long-term goals, things that are urgent that we have to work on now versus things we know that are going to take 20 years, where would the line be? Like, what do you think should be on the short-term list and what should be on the
So
long-term?
what's your guys' terms?
4 years.
4 years. And we've got roughly 1 year left with the 5 of you, maybe, more, depending on who runs.
2 of us, right? 2 seats are up next year.
I run Bob and Ed.
I'm not.
3 of us.
3 of you. So I think I would suggest 5.
I wouldn't go any further than 5. We
No.
don't commit future board things.
No, but I think that would encompass,
But with utilities, it's a little bit different.
So why can't we-
You've got-
why
I think
can't we
that's
break-
special, I think
break it
utilities
down?
should have its own,
Its own.
its
And
own
longer
20-year
term,
plan, because that's,
absolutely.
there's a specific need with the life
And
expectancy.
the thing is, if you're going to take special assessments off the table, and one of your goals is not to have special assessments, nobody likes those, then you're gonna have to plan. And you can't do it in 5 years.
I
You've got to be doing it in 10,
So
20
can-
years.
And that would
Can
typically
we-
focus on infrastructure.
Can we just have then a short-term, long-term for utilities that would definitely not be the same number of years that would be for everything else? I think that's.
Here's what I would recommend. When you're doing this type of planning, I would start with a 3-year plan, knowing that there's going to be some things in there that you will push out to a 4 to 5 year. But it keeps you focused on the next 3 years, which is
Reasonable
manageable,
time.
actionable, and attainable. So you go 3 years, you will then push things to a 3 to 5 year plan that will be almost parking lot, things to consider. And then we will also have a 20-year utility plan that's really staff's responsibility to, to bake that out. It'll be on our, we'll be aware of it, but we,
But not only utility, but it can be Parks and Rec too.
Yeah, yeah.
You're looking
But long-term
at
planning
on
is-
that too.
And roads and all that kind of stuff.
So
You're really talking about
are you
infrastructure
saying
facilities.
short-term should be 3 years?
I see.
Because I'd like short-term to be 1 year,
Well, in that,
and long-term-
so in that,
more 3 to 4 to 5.
okay, and now I'm not opposed to having a, short term would be the next fiscal year, but we already have that. So next fiscal year, we already have that budget and we have
We
this.
have those on our, from the capital side, we've got a 5-year CIP.
Yeah.
So,
I'd always think about short term as 18 months and long term would be, if you want
Can
to
we-
stretch it.
can we,
I think if you go too much further than a year, you don't start right away.
But my point.
One of the things about a year is, and particularly when we're starting a new budget year now, October 1st, one thing with a year is you gotta start now working on it.
Yeah, but-
You can't
You're already
wait
behind.
Yeah,
3
but my
months
only thing
to
was,
start
You're
working
not
on
enough
those.
time, so you
well,
have-
my point is, and I completely agree with you, if we were doing this 6 months ago. But we already have next year's plan in place. It's already been approved by budget and we have our priority list. So technically, our short-term planning is already done,
But you don't have your goals.
but we don't have goals.
can we do this? This is probably out there. Let's put goals down and then decide what we want the time frame to be.
Then come back and break it apart.
Because I don't want it to be front-end heavy to where staff can't manage it, but I also don't want it to be back-end heavy where we're waiting
It
to
gets
start
lost.
Well,
something.
it'd also be a good exercise, I mean, to Carol's point, it'd be a good exercise for us to put our goals, and that should align with our priorities for next year. So if we wanted to like baby step this, we're not starting from scratch. We have a budget and priorities already set. We do our goals, and those goals should align with our next year's priorities. So if we can do that, then we can go to 3 years, because at least we're directionally correct.
Okay. So here's what I wanted to do to start it then. I like that. I made a sheet that you have in front of you now that says, must do long-term, must do short-term. So you decide which side of the list you want to put it on for now. Just on this list, this is just a brainstorming list to get us started. And this is individual. But I'm gonna let you work in groups anyway, because it's more fun. So working groups, but I just want you to jot like the most important must-do things. And then we're gonna get bigger.
Both
We're gonna go broad.
both short and long.
Yeah, and you can decide. You put it wherever you want. There's one for the short, one for long. Put it wherever you want. And maybe that'll give us a little insight as to what we consider short versus
Last
long.
page.
So just brainstorm, just get a few down, and then we're gonna go to a bigger document.
No, but there was some papers that we had in there with everything.
Yeah, it should look like this.
Oh,
Did you
you
lose
didn't
your
grab
sheet?
your, do you have another one?
Yeah, there was one in front of my desk, but I didn't pick
Do
it
you
up.
need this page?
Here, never mind.
He needs the whole thing.
Oh, you need the
Yeah,
whole
that's fine, I didn't grab it,
Got it, okay.
so someone picked it up.
All right, everybody got it?
Okay, so they're short.
So just brainstorm.
Well, things that we need to decide that
Long
conversation.
range, short range.
There.
These are the most
We're
important,
not
big
really
time
thinking that it's coming up
must-dos.
February budget. You don't have to add it, but should we?
We would have already made that.
Yeah.
If I put it to budget.
Okay.
I think short range,
So like some
biggest thing we need to do
Fun
is
part.
design
Okay,
a
playgrounds.
yeah.
PR program
So
for
that's what I
the
was
new
wondering.
administrative.
You can go through like developing short,
Well,
long
can
term.
we expand
Part
that,
way.
just say a
Yeah.
PR
Yeah.
program?
We're not gonna go into.
Well, I think you need to have
That's it right there.
designed and
That's the
started the
development
PR
And some of these
program
could be
before
like-
you ever break
On
ground.
both lines, short term and long term.
Yeah, well,
They're
so
paid
it should be
out.
like, these are things
On
we need
that
to do, this is,
Now,
fiscal bid,
I don't mean
this
that
is
you're going
more like
to
we need
evaporate all the opposition.
a
or
process,
Yeah,
or like it could be a
people
people
are gonna
process,
yeah.
you know.
The short term goal. is
But
what
there's a
they
lot of
develop,
people
long-term
that,
plan.
number one, don't know and don't
To
care.
develop a
What I
plan, which
want to do
includes,
is try
yeah.
to get to
Short, long,
Well, as
them
long as I've
to
been sitting coming
make
in,
sure
we've
that
always talked about.
they
certain
don't
big problems, but we've never said.
walk from one side to the other.
Do something about it. That change the
Yeah,
surface.
so that would be,
So,
to me, that would be a.
Long
short-
term, it would be both. Short term is to develop the plan, however long.
design and
We
implement.
all look at it,
Well,
specifically
develop
that
a
one.
plan, and then a long-term goal would be the implementation of the plan.
and how to fund it.
Has funded, that, all that type of stuff. So,
What do you-
we're-
So
So
does
as
it
we
do
do
right?
these,
Yeah, you don't want
page
to
right here,
read
all of the items. that
I
we're
can't
doing
even
next
do it, I
month
watch
are
the race.
Tenants, right?
I
So
didn't even have breakfast.
You did good because I have 12 underneath the
We'll teach you
communication.
to roll.
Here, have some
I'm gonna put on my,
So when
I
do
noticed
you
yesterday she was
think
very tough about it.
we will start breaking ground for the end,
So today you got to engage.
Here, I'll just.
end of this
I'll
year?
take
You go to right.
I'll do it.
Okay, so,
Okay, that's right.
so,
What about,
by,
continuing
January 1st?
to update
What did you
our,
have?
various
I was thinking more long-term with public works.
operating,
Operations.
operations.
Utilities, master plans laid out,
Yeah.
because that will give us, short-term is getting the plans
Okay, well, that's.
done and
That's different
created,
than the
long-term would be
policy
actually
action.
executing.
Like, that's
Where we
different.
need votes.
Yeah, and then there's.
Because that is
we
the
try to
roadmap
match that.
of where we're going
Yeah.
for the next 10,
So
20
we
years,
basically
depending on how long we take out that,
Manuals?
out those master
SOPs
plans.
and-
So we-
how long do you think it's gonna take you to do the plan?
And we should have a plan to approve the.
Okay.
Whole nother monster in itself.
Plan for, what
Well,
was it?
it would just be.
We started with
Stormwater management plan.
Yes,
We
stormwater
need,
management.
we need a stormwater management plan, because
Which
it should be inclusive of everything. Is that why
Also
we're on
said
there?
pipe cleaning,
Five.
catch basins,
Yep.
all of
Okay,
that.
Things
so
like that,
you said that is
stormwater,
the
master
stormwater-
plans, recreation,
stormwater
landscaping, master plans.
And that would be inclusive of everything, scoop water, scoop.
So what was the
Ponds,
one? Yes.
things along those lines. So big categories and then everything that we need to do and
HR.
how we plan on prioritizing, so like
Yeah.
ponds, we got
Yeah.
pond restoration. How are we gonna
Personnel.
prioritize them over the next 10 to 15 years based on who needs it the
And these are
most
just
right now?
examples, like,
Yeah.
this- what I
Based
put
on
in,
dollars
is
that are
we need to
available, that we
review.
know for.
They're broad.
All of our standard operating.
So it
These are
really
broad.
draws a
Manuals.
roadmap of like, this is what we're doing over the next 20 years in order to maintain this.
It sounds like designing such a plan is gonna take almost 69 months.
It is, they normally take pretty,
We should be doing that.
because you got some engineering
Two
that's already
years.
behind
So
it.
like on the pond, I think there's a
And do we
little
have
bit of.
the-
something
Yeah, we have a
on-
little bit of every day,
But.
but getting it
Everything.
formalized
Everything.
into a written document.
Everything.
All right.
Absolutely all.
Yeah.
So it's really, it's a
It's a
two-year
7-year
rate study.
But it's
Yeah, we,
very.
both the utility rate stuff and,
Right.
arts rate
Yeah.
stuff. Anything
Anything that we charge.
that
Would
we're
you agree to
charging,
that?
we need to
Oh,
have.
And it takes
Review
6
of that.
to 9 months?
Should we try to develop some type of communication plan where we could have a master list, if you will, that we can send directly to our homeowners?
Stormwater, he's got,
We have
you
an
know,
item.
roadway.
Trouble is, I don't know.
I guess email, but you know, we have
We don't have. any
March.
Well, I know, but should,
See, it won't just be one master plan.
I know we don't have an
People
answer.
won't
Yeah.
get it.
Is the.
Which one's the most
so-
important?
So,
Right now.
going back to your.
Well, which one do you start with?
Sewer carries the biggest volume.
Initiated code red, which was.
For
you
you.
have
For
to
you.
provide the residents.
Correct.
Okay, so
it's
sewer
all
master
that
plan is what you
how do we get
have to have
that
first.
Yeah.
And give,
Yeah,
well,
And
that's
that's the
that.
thing, maybe,
This will
you know, who
fall
knows
in
what the
line
technology
with
will be 4 years
The,
ago. Might be
the
something
camera.
else.
Well, we don't just say,
jetting
we just
and-
need to
Should
say
it be
our
an
goal is to have a
objective?
communication plan.
And that's exactly right, because you could go into the deep end.
Well,
If
and
it's trying-
taking-
what-
taking
just
that
like-
serious
This is
about
five
it,
things
and
right now.
short-term
Yeah,
side,
yeah.
We said if the timeframe for short-term
We've
is
gotta have
1-3.
some plans in place.
we can figure out.
So do you
It's
think
sort of-
Actually,
we
it
could
should be
develop
2 or 3
a
because we
sewer
already got
master
one.
Yeah, so we'll put
plan
one
But right.
by
every
April 1st
And
of
long
next year?
term is
No.
3 to 5.
So it
and then
depends.
I'll have like a,
How long would it take?
I can inject it, if he goes in
Just
and next year goes out and gets a consultant to go do
That's
it, like
fine.
or somebody
Creating
along
the
those lines to create it, we can do it
plan,
faster.
that will be a.
If we're doing it
long-term
in-house while we're doing
So
day-to-day
anything that's 3 or
operations,
more years out.
it's just gonna prolong.
so
It's
I
gonna
like
take a
your
while.
short-term
So-
is 1 to
so
3,
Austin
long-term
has-
is
Do you
3
want to
plus.
go out to do
Yeah.
this?
And then
or
we
do
can
you
sort
wanna
it out,
do it
you
in-house?
know.
And within,
So Austin
Okay,
has
so I got
broke
park
down
plan, I've got
their community
review all
in 5
standard operating
sections.
procedures
to
and
where
manuals,
every
examples of
5
the stormwater
years, we
management
will be
plan,
touching
criteria, HR manual.
a large
to
section of
your-
that community for cammering and jetting
Yeah,
and
let's see.
cleaning.
Is that,
Okay.
so
Um,
Parks and Rec
so-
manual?
The
Um,
way,
No,
the
no,
only
I
way we
was
could do
thinking-
that is
That's
this
what
right
I-
now, in my
the
belief,
parks and
is
recreation already that.
Oh, yeah, park plan, I have that,
Okay.
I have park plan.
And swimming pool.
start where it's oldest.
That would be-
They'll break it down, yeah.
And then I have
This
just
new
in
word.
general, just
Or
a
newer.
2-year
But I,
review of
until you actually
rate study, that utilities, parks,
have
whatever
all
else.
that
And
information.
somewhere in there, enhanced
in hand,
communication, better than.
And then I've got a communication plan.
completely developable?
See,
There's,
that's
well,
the
there's
one
their engineering
That's
assessments that need to
problem,
be
should be
done.
at the top of
Right,
our
flow
list. The
rate
trouble is,
studies,
houses in-
CCTV
You know, one
studies,
thing, like,
things
I know
along those
we
lines to
did
look
years
at.
back
Just because a
was
pipe
that
is
it's every 2
old
months,
doesn't mean that it
we
is
do-
worn.
It
But
doesn't
after
mean
six,
that.
seven
If
days,
you
you're
look
not
at-
doing it, and
I,
so, but there is,
I,
I
for
don't
example,
know.
I pulled pipe out of the ground, it was
if we-
50 years
because
old,
we
it
have
was
the
brand new on the
access
inside.
for them, but
Because
we are
the
not
usage
authorized to
rate
use
was
it.
constant and steady,
But
so there
like,
was less
for
corrosion
arbitrary
going on the
offenses,
pipes.
you can
less
do it
gas.
as long as
Yeah.
you do an
I had
opt-out.
pulled pipes that
Well, we
were
have
at a
a-
50%
So I don't know if that applies to us
utilization,
too.
that
we have a
were
paper
20
that
years
they-
old
we
and
requested
practically
to
brand
sign.
new. We pull
And
them out of
there's
the
a
ground, they
place that
rotted
they can
through all the
sign
way
to allow
and
us to
ready to
communicate
explode.
to them.
So
all
there's some
stuff
more
like
estimates and
Yeah.
assessments that need to be
They
done.
What's
we
wrong
have
with
to
Actually
have
say,
those.
Yeah, why is that?
This is
why
my
do you
priority
have
list.
that?
So that's
These
different.
here
That's
can blindly say, hey,
it's
this
not
is
that
the
we're allowed to
criteria
have
that
it,
we're
it's
gonna
actually
rate this
opt
against.
out of the meeting.
Age,
Because
Okay, we have an
maybe
opt-out.
historical
Yeah,
data
so
that says
if they
these are the
just want
type
an
of
email,
things that are
if they wanted
breaking
this
consistently
email,
across the
we can have
board,
it.
and we
They
can target
didn't
that.
have it.
Let's-
They
Without
can make
having
it, in other words, they can make us spend money to put it.
Let's not get hung up on
Yeah.
solution. All we're doing is, our goal
Those
is to
types
create
you're
a
never,
community.
you're never gonna know the.
Well, just trying to-
That's,
There is a master
Have enough
communications tool within Pelican that goes to every,
knowledge
unless they've
that
opted out.
actually want to do this.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I
so,
know we didn't have that.
do we wanna talk
We
about
do.
this
Supplemental
communication plan,
So-
because you have
I
it.
think you-
Well,
I think
yes.
That and it,
But-
It has
it's
something-
also like
something to do
the
with the,
cammering and jetting.
Common area,
It's
That's
landscape.
This
It's
is
big
the
enough.
future, because I mean, we know old trees that you.
Scope
I agree.
and amount.
And I did put on, a resource plan,
Realistically, we
resource
can't
plan,
staff it,
succession
we don't have
plan.
the equipment.
because our responsibility is our
And
common
the
area.
equipment
We don't do
is
anything outside.
$1 million.
So what we're addressing,
You
you
know?
know, would be road
So-
rights away and easements.
Yeah,
that
just
we-
for
that
master plan.
Just for
Common area.
water, yeah,
Common area.
our water rate and, yeah.
we
Year
have
from
a
now.
common
Like I
area
said,
landscape
we could,
plan.
based on.
So I just
Which is all we-
I put landscape
But based
mitigation
on
plan.
actual.
Period,
real-
because that would
I think that would
Yeah.
encompass all.
It's gonna be
Within the
at least
communication
5 years
portion.
before we have
So the goal will be the GIS.
information.
In Pelican, we have
Unless.
how long we
did
have
all
all
at
the
once,
pipes,
There's.
with diameters, all that stuff. We got a
Yeah.
Excel side of this, we've got a
Well, I-
street like this.
I think that's a standalone. I think
Okay,
that's.
I thought, I
our-
consider that all part of communication, but okay.
But it could be stormwater, it could be infrastructure.
I mean, you've got everything
But I-
available.
I think what you're saying, we need we need a- we need a,
Daniel's side
It's a
of it.
deliverable to
GIS.
residents, yeah,
But-
it's a deliverable to residents,
Yeah.
to give
I
the
like
residents a
having
wealth of
plans,
information
but
if they
we
choose
have,
to
like,
explore.
For some of these
It's
short-
all there.
Water
Like,
rights,
we
it
have
is
time to
just, but
find
we're looking
things that
for
we have to
a-
keep right now, like all the
Added
requirements
lands,
that we just
map.
did the bonds.
Uh-huh.
Those
Well,
have
we
to
need
be
it,
spent, 85% of those bonds.
an inclusive
have to be
GIS.
spent
And that-
within 3 years.
Comprehensive GIS.
Comprehensive.
So. that-
Because we have our
And to me,
landscape
on
And
my
then do you
short-term,
think
like,
it's
So they've gotta be
something
in
that should have
action.
input
Yes.
from residents, so those are comprehensive
Those
GIS?
are top.
With the ability to have-
But are you gonna
Anything that ties into those
You
bonds.
get some risk,
We're
you
talking
get
about
this deal
new
in our
bonds
community.
with the enterprise
Are you
fund.
going to give them
Those
access
are
to
tied.
that?
So that's what, that's what.
Access
Because
is,
if you do.
access is
you
read
don't-
only, read only.
Probably a handful. of
Administrators
those facilities
are the
a
only ones
year
that
out.
change.
Again,
Which
Because
is
we don't need to
Oh,
solution
yeah.
that. All we just gotta say is,
engineering
Yeah.
and everything.
After
can't-
9/11, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
that
there's-
we-
So I- so you're saying you've got too many goals?
No, but they kind of.
Priorities.
Stormwater.
Yeah.
Stormwater, where they are.
That's why I didn't want.
But not gas lines.
Time
not electric.
Define short-term and
No
long-term
water, no
goals.
shit.
And we don't, and we don't do
So,
that.
our
um,
plate is a.
We-
things
But the
get
issue is
flat.
we want to develop.
It's not, it's not a dinner plate.
I
Yeah.
understand.
All
Information
information access to
sharing.
our residents.
That is in compliance and it's.
Yes, totally legal.
So I wrote down. a
Well,
list
yeah,
of
I think when we
plans
talk about that
want,
is,
and you guys can chime in.
we've had a priority to
So
enhance
for
our
the public
GIS
works side,
map,
I've got
Yeah.
stormwater ponds.
but it
landscaping,
costs money for that. And
Parks and Rec.
I think we need to say, what is the priority of that?
And
What
then
are
under
we,
Utilities, I've got your three
what's the gain
utilities,
by
water,
enhancing
sewer,
it, and what are we
irrigation.
losing by not having a
Under
comprehensive
administration,
GIS?
I've got
That-
What
Public
we're doing
relations,
is
staffing,
internally focused
HR,
on the road.
budgeting,
Now,
grants,
it's going to have
and
an iPad.
GIS is
At
kind of all
night, when he drives
encompassing.
around,
Yeah, for.
he'll be
Yeah.
able to identify
You
street
must have
lights
read
that
my
are
mind,
out.
because I literally.
people
Oh, yeah.
that
Oh, yeah.
All that stuff.
There's absolutely
And the next
a benefit.
the
But,
manager comes in,
Yeah, I agree with
hits
that.
the button, and
And I think
everything
that we
shows up.
Have to
Issues of
probably
either
delineate
fines,
a midterm.
violations, or
So you have
report
a
that,
short
or
term,
lights out, all that.
One
That's
to 2
very
years,
handy.
midterm.
And it's
you know,
all tied
two
to our
probably
GIS.
5
So
years,
we're
4
looking
or
at
5
next
years,
3 years.
and then a longer
We're
term,
saying
everything
our
else
goals
beyond
are
that.
To develop a park plan.
And that, I
review
think, would
all
be good
SO,
for like the
SOP
execution
manuals, like
of those
stormwater,
master
permit
plans
criteria, HR
for the long
manual,
term.
and we'll add to it.
The
Review
short
it
term,
up there.
obviously,
Review it up
day-to-day
there.
ops and then the things that are on our plate that we have
Two-year,
timelines
two-year
associated
rate
with.
study,
And then
for
midterms should
utilities,
be
parks, and again, whatever. else
completing those
we
master
imagine.
plans.
Communication plans,
completing
slash strategy.
The planning strategies that we
resource
have to
plan,
move forward and
succession plan,
do the
landscape
things that we're
irrigation plan.
Well, and
comprehensive
then
GIS
some of the
plan.
caveat to that is, you know, every
Just a
couple
couple
of
of
years.
How about anything
Yes.
around
So,
facilities?
I mean,
The like facility plan?
we can have a wrench thrown in right in the middle of our plan.
Well, I know we do that over there.
At some point, because it's all gonna be dependent on funding.
Well,
Yes, we
and you're
do.
always gonna
We
have
need
change.
it.
Right.
Here we would.
Well, you know what,
Don't
if-
get confused with
if
the
you
facility
s-
plan like we do for.
If you set a
PPM,
path,
but
I'm talking
it's-
physical.
it's
you
physical
know, you
facility
get a
plans,
board
that
member
might be a
in
good
and
way
you
to
that's
say,
all.
no, we're in the
Everything
middle of
the
our,
district.
three-year
Right.
capital prep,
Right.
you
What is
know.
the life cycle of it?
Physical
What's
facility
the-
plan.
Okay, what are they gonna say? Well, stop your program?
We're done.
Oh, we're halfway
So
through.
that's our
You
biggest
know.
fear,
So
right?
we kind of know what our footprint's gonna
Probably our biggest fear.
be, unless there's an
So,
Well,
override.
the only other
At some
thing
point that would happen.
that cause problem with that is when we start these.
See, I don't think you should be that worried about that.
I was gonna ask you.
Water, sewer.
to add,
Have you been out there in the garage?
with those
Like
master
how?
plans,
Sherman
you
Beach
should
Plaza.
also look at
I mean, what
extending
do
our
you think?
CIP.
You think another board's gonna
So
put
it's not
out
a
a
five-year
five?
CIP, but
And
it's
it's
a
not
10.
what I really thought.
You gotta have one.
Now, they've been having inventory where they go where it's at.
This is where I have experience.
Okay, so I mean, it's outlined, we know what we usually want to be driving towards, but the master plans will probably change.
One of the things that Kenny,
Probably expand.
You would
been
imagine.
teaching over the last 2 years is basically
Sleeves and valves.
always.
That way, we don't have,
We don't have
so
a very
short term
good
would be the
visual
information,
management
the master
So-
plan.
I really got there and looked.
So
You're exactly right.
Well, we're-
That's
Now,
right.
and then it's
Well,
CIP,
it's
so it's
things
scheduled.
that happen.
We're not
Sure.
sure,
And then-
so this
and
is
how do
something
we
that will
work?
definitely be short term.
Okay.
As soon as the building is here,
I don't have the same.
once there, it's gonna go to the new building.
Well, that's
So
right.
then,
But
then
who's
during
gonna-
that
Because of
process,
the
But who's gonna
plans
be
that
in maintenance?
will-
We need your maintenance. Somebody check, Ed checked out a pump. Love you to check that out.
So is your
But the-
inventory and
Especially on the utility side,
it's a POS system. That's what it is.
What?
It's a POS system.
What is that?
It is a point of sale, but, so every part,
And
like,
I have
we
no
have, we
personal
have a scanner, and then we go
But
one scanner for the
listening
garage.
to those guys.
Get them
Usually
all.
that's what we want to do.
I think
You
that's
know,
easy, that's easy.
I
But I mean,
actually
you-
understand.
you aren't doing it now.
No, but
so we
every,
need inventory management.
Because it sounds
That's-
like
Yeah.
in the past,
Especially when
they
you
would
got
just
that kind of volume.
For the willingness.
make a
to-
90-degree turn.
Well, you
Yeah.
don't have to be malicious, it could be good.
No, we're not,
If you need
right?
something
But I
done, you
don't-
don't do the paperwork, you just
I
take it.
don't
And
think
then the next
you've
time you
got
still think it's there.
Especially now.
You're
Well,
like,
the
what's
I
what's
think
crazy?
it's more of a
You're essential
structure.
critical.
With this
well,
board
to
and you
maintain
will
those
with
systems.
future
Joe knows
boards,
where everything is.
because-
No, that ain't,
But that's exactly what I'm afraid of.
Right.
And
Yeah.
what do we know what's in the truck
Girls that
versus,
wanna-
Correct.
you know, what's
How do we
on
stop
the
it?
shelf, how do we go and say, here's a critical item.
How do you know that you're down to
Preventative
that
maintenance
6-inch
programs?
sleeve?
Okay, all right.
Is
So
that-
inventory management,
That is
What
the
else?
big
That's
job.
usually,
Tear it down and sell.
you can do,
What else
we're
is
just talking about a project, we were able to do something for preventative maintenance, so yeah, the cost of the sticker price might be bad, but it is nowhere near the 5 times the price.
Sometimes they get all caught up in the paperwork.
From our
Chair,
chair,
usually when a main blows up in somebody's backyard or something along those lines, and you have to pay somebody to come in a split second to take care of something.
Well, each
So
system or each
and you'll have
branch
that.
has that to some
In the
degree.
next 5 years, it will happen.
Yeah.
You don't know how, don't know
Inevitably.
where, don't know.
But
But the money is here.
But the only thing we don't have on that would be on
So
our
I like having
landscaping
these plans,
that's
but we don't really. have
subcontracted out. So
any.
we don't keep heads, we don't keep rotors, we don't do that.
Do we currently know exactly
But
what
then the
we
goals
are
are
doing in
going to
landscape?
come
related
from
to
them,
that?
but then what are we doing? with
We
it?
Put that
know,
another way, ask if we have needs of fluid.
I guess that's
I
what I
still
would,
think you keep that
We don't know.
PR
This is
program.
where we
Yeah,
found
the
it.
PR program, but I don't think.
We
it
have
has
been
to be
maintaining
directed
this table
towards
for
that.
20
It
years.
has to be more global.
Okay, WCL said it, landscaper did it, we paid.
Now
Now we find out that they have a table,
I
not
am
belong to
hearing
us. It
But
belongs to somebody else.
I know there are
That's
some
our own.
from
We're
Hannah
not doing that right now, just.
in
Are you
in the
doing it?
crowd
From a
Each
policy
for a
perspective,
number of months
really
before I
projected
ever
to
got on the board.
Okay, well,
I can tell you
Good.
there's
Right. We're doing
an
that.
underground
Probably, we're about 5 years out from doing all the ponds, addressing that red, yellow, and green.
Yeah.
That was 5
And
years.
and it's also the same people that
So
come
I'm
and complain
thinking
about everything else.
the link name restoration.
I'm worried about 90%.
Yeah, but that's a never ending.
It's- I was getting
ready to
That's
say,
a never ending.
we're gonna start back
Better if we
again.
could
Yeah.
maybe make that.
But you have to just basically started it, and you're
Yeah,
gonna
we
start
complete
again.
the-
Before,
The
Well,
initial
It's
plan
gonna be more
starts.
of a
We
maintenance
can't
as
sit here and
opposed
once,
to.
we did-
once you got
Pond
big
112
machines out
in
there
2020.
starting to
So,
build
okay,
things,
we gotta know that we gotta go back to Pond 112.
you know, you kind of
and
know
secure
the
the-
So
lights.
what I was thinking is just,
The good news is if they're.
in order to have goals, you have to,
Yeah,
you
we're
have to be able
sorting
to
around.
accomplish and achieve.
You know what?
There's no.
So we're trying to
Oh,
identify
yes.
some areas, like, so when we
Just
when we
watch
create a
us
hard
back in
plan,
on this.
we'll check.
What
out
are
that
we
hard
doing,
plan's
what
been
goal do we
complete.
wanna
And you
set
gotta quantify.
Yeah.
I
enhance
think
the
that was
quality
like,
of
well,
life for our
before,
residents?
like, before this starting was plan for the
Just,
challenge.
I
and
wanna
the
go
goals
through
of
each one of
the
these and
women,
say, what goal
but
do we
also
wanna
plan to
tie?
maintain the strength.
What
So the
tangible
things
thing,
that
road to
all the
rubber,
ways
can we
that
do
were done,
to
now
do
we
that?
have
Well,
plans
Yeah,
to
it goes into a
maintain that.
maintenance.
So that's like. a
Yeah,
one
my
that
idea is
every-
the Lake Baker Restoration Project completes, and then we are, and we're transitioning to
Residents
BAU or
don't take it
maintenance.
Into a maintenance
Yeah,
project,
yeah.
yeah.
We gotta be able to say we completed something.
They just,
Well, we don't.
Right,
If
until it
you
doesn't
don't have
work.
littorals, you will be doing
but
that.
what
So,
residents think about
uh,
is, can I go out here and take a walk? Am I
Just gonna
tripping
go
on
back
the
to
sidewalk?
utilities, so
Can I
the-
take my kids or my
Ultimately,
grandkids to the park?
the 20-year plan,
Play
we
and,
need
you
to
know,
specifically
Parks-
understand
Parks
all
and
of the,
all that kind of stuff, I
lifespan.
think is
of
I
utilities.
think it's
And
also
how do I,
how-
how do I
There's
describe
two parts to that.
correct.
You
Is
can do
there
a complete
something
identification
that
of
we
all
can
the
do in
assets,
the next
inlet,
year
sewer, water,
to
utility.
make the whole area
And you know what the
Look.
lifespan is, of some of those things, 70, 80 years.
better? I don't know what other words you
extent
use.
Beautification projects.
Are you doing
It's,
fun?
I mean, I think those
Are
are
you gonna
some,
do it all?
I like
Or
a
are you gonna
beautification
do
project.
half?
Yeah,
Because we
beautification
should put that
projects,
in
they're
code.
Those
simple,
things that
they're
are
simple
part of
and
the
they're
plan.
relative.
Theory is like
You
now.
get a lot of
is
bang
to
for buck once
develop
people
the
see it.
plan.
It's a nice-
Don't go into that second step, because we'll go into a blizzard.
Listen, I can see.
Okay, so I just put, and I put this in short term, because I think you have to have
Right.
asset inventory, life cycle
Some of that
analysis.
kind of goes into
determine,
the multi,
you know, okay,
multiple
let's fix
things
that.
That's the plan.
Utility,
every year. that
this
happen in
asset
the-
has
in
a
the
20-year life cycle, okay,
for
that goes
So
to
that-
long
as
term.
an example,
Once you
Fine.
find out, then you start like,
By
already belong.
That's
the
right.
landscape
And I put
subcommittees,
assets, I didn't
I
specifically
like
say
that, I like
utilities.
that. Asset
and they're spending
Because
like
it-
$300
We were talking about, come on, we
to
didn't know
do
what
landscape
we own, what
improvements.
we, you know, buildings,
And I
underground.
just had a neighbor come back.
Specifically for electric consumption.
Now, but they've been gone for 4 months.
Bills come in there that we get paid.
Oh, things look a whole lot better.
I don't think we've ever validated.
And
This
they
bill
couldn't
covers
speak to
that
anything
pole and the
specific.
entire pole.
It's just,
This bill covers that
this
irrigation.
this is
and
better.
entire
Yeah,
irrigation.
something's
We are
changed.
now trying to reconcile that. 'Cause all
So
the
is
bills
there
are
a
paid.
way that
Well,
we could
anybody
do
can send
something
bills,
like
they
that
pay.
in
Literally,
gateways?
it's that bad.
So that a year
I
from now,
don't
people would
think
say, when
we
they come
have
back, or, well, if there's no
problem
words, or if,
you
you know,
guys
if they linger,
On identification. of what you
something's
want to
changed,
do.
this is better. It
I
looks
think we're already much
Really?
better off
You
on
think
that.
you are? Okay.
But
But it, you know, branch
I
out
think it's
to
only-
We found that out.
larger set.
It's
Six
only-
years ago, there was
because
a
we-
lot of stuff.
To help.
Yeah.
Let's
It's
shift gears just for a
beautification
minute, and
projects,
look
they're just-
long term.
Hey, guys, this is, the purpose of this is must do. These are on our must do list. So can we finish this up in 5 minutes?
Okay.
Sure.
Now you know what our problem is. We got a lot of must do's.
Well, we have a lot more to do. I wanted to start with just brainstorming
We're
the
doing
must
everything.
do, the most important.
Everything. We're all over the board over
Okay,
here.
so-
Well, we're whole real.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
So, but something to go back to what I was hearing from you,
Okay, so
and
let's
was
look
trying to
at
take
what
away
we
from
have to
something.
do
I'm hearing public outreach of some
in the
sort
next
to educate,
plus.
what it is
and
that
let's
we
maybe
do.
look at maybe like 5.
and I was wondering
5 to
if,
10, what will,
like,
what
you know,
will have to happen.
forgive my newness of the
I think it's
organization,
easy.
but have we done any
Any
open
one of those
houses or any
different
type of like
aspects we talked
public works
about.
days where
We'll
people can come
develop
in and see what
what
it is?
the
And that was
People
my
are
thing too. So
doing.
once
So
we identify,
There's just an
in
opportunity,
the
the
short term,
opportunity to look at
we'll-
the trucks or
we'll
touch the
specify
How
gators,
can we address?
whatever it is.
whether it's a long term or short term.
I know like Tarpon Springs has a weekend where they go to the downtown and they bring in like EMS, EMT, the SWAT team, they bring in all the cool toys and gadgets and gadgets, and they allow the community to go out and interact and have
So
an
I know this
outreach
will come out
touch
of plan,
point
but,
to say it's what
That's
it
a
is
great
that they
idea.
do.
what
Something
we
to
do,
that effect.
Yeah.
when we have
Just for a
landscaping
public,
irrigation plan,
public educational, public
do we
outreach. kind
believe
of-
that our irrigation
And-
system
and every
infrastructure will
kid
be
who
replaced in the
comes
next 3 years?
Can ride a
or
gator
afterward? I mean,
or
like,
whatever.
they just-
and-
I mean, it was
and
simple
take them
stuff.
up on
What is the life cycle?
Here's the a-
irrigation.
Here's a candy
Ours
bucket,
has
here's a
ours
lollipop for the
And then
kids,
let's
is
say
over.
we
they're allowed to
have
come
a-
and,
Ours
you
is
know,
by the
dead.
interact
20
with
years.
personnel,
Well, we're just,
work personnel, and then there's an opportunity for the community to talk projects, talk things that are just airing things out. So it'll mitigate things in the board, it'll alleviate some of those pressure points. But I was hearing from you, it's just, you know, the community doesn't know what it is we do.
We just found a bunch of.
Why can't we establish a day where
Where
we
the wires
just
go
do
to
it?
the utility
side.
we got the same thing.
As long as.
Split and crack.
No, for us, it's beyond repair.
So we, well, that's it. We have to run your wall here.
Are you talking about streetlights or are you talking about money?
I'm talking street lights now.
Streetlights.
We need
You
to
double down, so you can also make it like a.
And our zoning breaks for
That's
You got all the water.
Because they do have water.
Right.
Their toilets
That's
don't
what-
have
So we need to,
So they
we
don't
need to
care about that,
revisit
that's just part of life.
the,
But
you
know,
were
I
talking,
don't-
and we feel like that's.
You were talking about that 10%.
Is it in there?
Right, the
It gives us
irrigation,
10% a
that's
venue
No, I'm
to
saying, we feel like the CIP.
talk and
That's
get to know
true.
people
So
and
this was one
figure
of those
out,
kind
you
of,
know,
well, we had a light
what the
out,
plans
just go
are,
fix the light.
get into
Then
people's
when you get
ears,
into it, you
you know,
find out
that
there's a
matter
much
decision
bigger problem.
makers
Yeah.
that.
We got 8 lights out there.
3 minutes.
4 volts out of 240.
You know,
We've got
we can't
wires
think of
that are
a bunch of
bad,
people
like
who
what
have
you
to
said.
No, you don't
We
have
gotta
to,
pull
that's when
all
you
the
break
wires.
out a
All
meter,
the
and
wires.
you show people how meters are out there, or something to
Expected
that effect.
calls
You
it
don't
wiring
have to, you
system.
can do pictures,
That
you have
gets you
boards,
the
posters.
end
You can
Hey, man, you wondered how you tie in, where are you at in the gateway community? Oh,
And he
hey,
found that out.
you're not even belonging to our utilities, happy to you guys are Fort Myers, this is where that line's at, things like that, just.
And we don't know how much this is gonna go away
Yeah,
with that
broad
being our building.
general,
That's what
just a community engagement.
If we go into this,
point where we
we
can
know.
Get out there and have.
Well, you pay for
To think about.
Austin's gonna love it.
So.
Or take one of those big huge pipes of yours and say, okay, you can walk through it.
I don't
So
know.
we don't have any big enough to walk.
Okay.
Our biggest is one
Or whatever.
You can call
So we need to understand.
We
the
talk-
challenge.
Okay, kids, go.
The reason why I say that is because
Community assets and
the
services,
schools,
we
I
already
had a
talked
meeting
through
with
the
them
master
yesterday.
plan, the
They're
maintenance plans,
84%.
financial
They're not
viability
even
and
fully out.
integrity.
The charter
So-
school extended, and then we're gonna have more apartments on the corner, more over here, so we're gonna,
Oh,
we're gonna have
so-
a problem now, so.
Items that come.
the
1 minute.
solution will be-
So what I put is, I put understand the county's road plan for Gateway. That's a short.
Roll the-
Transparency,
I wanna do road
communication,
sidewalk.
responsiveness, I
Because
think
they
the
can't-
road
we
outreach.
are on the
thing,
sidewalk
talking
plan
to
for
that.
Keep in mind,
But then you would also be like, hey, this is also where you
It's all
can
accessible,
do your
like
customer
ours,
services,
none of the
landscape,
counties.
you know, put in
Gateway
your.
West Links Drive, West
Things like
Links
that.
Drive is ours.
The elementary, yes.
Yeah.
So we're
Uh,
But then,
working on
then that's,
something.
And
then that's
that's,
something on us.
and we know what that is right now. It's a nightmare. You can't drive down that.
No, you can't.
But that road, we couldn't expand. We-
I know it. I know
Environmental
it. That's
So,
a
so that,
problem.
that's a problem, but then
Could be a goal
road
behind
extension is not a
environmental.
solution, so I think, but then Gateway Boulevard could be a solution.
Yeah.
And
Like
then
doing
the-
Well, we have the item is understand the county road and sidewalk plan for Gateway, and then I guess we would need to.
This is the
Learn-
stuff.
learn-
Stuff getting in stormwater drain. Valley gutter.
But I'm
One
more-
quick thing, because when we started, it needs some clarity right here, so I also have an item on your short term, that's realize the 2024 priority plan. So then it goes CIP and what else? Is that just maintenance?
And then.
I mean, I really just want to focus on like, we've already identified priorities
So-
for next year.
Yeah,
Budget.
that's
So drawing on
Realize
past
that.
experience, it doesn't be that
We
good.
just leave it open at just the 24 plan.
Pinellas County
We want to
has
specify the
like
CIP.
a public outreach
We have
and
the-
community center that coordinates with like the
So
schools
I'll just leave it at.
to talk about the environmental side.
The
So
last
they
thing,
bring
like,
kids
when
in,
it
like,
comes to,
there they
like,
had like a
I
wastewater
know
treatment,
that
so they're sort of like, this is how we take,
you
pool water and turn it into clean water that we discharge out to Joe's Creek. We had things there and there were just some demographics that, you know, they would schedule with the schools to bring in classes to show, like, this is the environmental impacts of your
So
community.
On the east side,
area.
Yes, it was 8 years
I think
plan,
L
and they
would
now
be
make it
somebody
a
that
2-year
you
plan. So they-
Set up as just something
So
like
I
that.
need
If
to
you
do
wanted to
irrigation
do
and taking on the
community
thing.
outreach, we got the schools in the area.
As
Okay,
soon as
5
that's-
minutes
they
is
go.
up.
Should I put,
So how about we
You know what I
take,
mean?
how about we take 5 minutes to wrap this up, get a refresh our coffee, we'll get back together at 9:30.
Okay.
Did you hear me?
I'm sorry?
Is it in our short-term chat quick, complete the road turnover to Stony Brook HOA?
You know that she, that they never send that.
You're bad.
I'm not gonna go there.
Yeah.
I'm really popular.
Put it there.
I'm really popular.
That's fine.
Add it.
Purpose for today, and the next time we're like, oh, shit.
No, I, the full power is.
Yeah, a lot of them are good.
Yeah, that's fine.
Disaster all over now.
And to me, I think it tastes better too. There used to be a strawberry banana that was really good, and it's not
I
making it.
love banana.
I'll send me the
Yeah,
picture.
strawberry banana is really good.
I'm involved.
And I don't see how
I just
You
was
grab the
looking at
tongs down
it,
there.
That might be the way to do
It's
it.
coming out of my treatment. My taste buds. So I don't-
So I think if we don't miss out
I'm
on
like
eating
Whatever
grapes,
works
it
easiest.
doesn't seem to be
And
the,
the water,
I don't eat-
did you look at the thing that I?
Never turn down a
Never
meal.
miss a meal.
Never turn down a
So
meal.
I don't drink anything that's carbonated. I mean, I'll have beer.
Come on, get out of it.
But like,
I don't care.
I haven't had a soda. Like 2 years. I mean, I might have one, but I don't have an appetite. So I have to drink my protein shakes twice a day. I don't eat. I don't eat. Maybe twice. And then I eat it.
Let's get this going.
can you radar it?
Did you?
Well, can you throw a bubble through
Yes.
it? Have you seen the bubbles?
I saw
They,
those.
they, not a radio, but they
I got spun in my auto.
basically
nice.
send a pop that's on the line and then it text the desk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Tennessee, I think.
Still petrified.
I want some honey.
One thing I'll read you from my harvest yesterday.
Bring me some.
Like honey?
I can do it.
You don't feel like honey? Your wife likes sweet? Oh, yeah. I got, yeah, and I didn't have a sweet. I had it.
So is it everything you thought it would be?
That's
Yeah.
almost, you almost have to isolate.
But Tim didn't want it in the first place.
Yeah, I thought somebody-
Yeah, with your, how did you say?
So, 50 views. I said,
Yeah,
"How many
and
views
even
have
at
this
that,
thing?"
it's,
Yeah, I need to be boxed
You
and,
know,
I knew it was gonna be a lot, and then said, finally, I don't think he
So I've
said
seen
yes, I
video
just got
of
it.
Yeah.
you
JT
know,
kept telling me that he
but
was
I
sounding
didn't
nice,
see
so
the-
here comes him with
they
the
didn't
suit,
show
and
the
Timmy just
complete
looks to the
thing.
window, because my husband
Where's
was
the-
Where'd you
going
get it
up.
at?
do they go?
I got it
It
from a
came
guy
out
that
through a
knows
hydrant.
that he was
That doesn't
beast,
go
so I
into
put it
a
on my.
hydrant.
You got it from JT?
I got it from
Yeah.
JT instead
You have
of,
to have
He's
it's
a
on
much
the
better
board.
man.
built-in
So,
entry
Yeah,
point
big, skinny guy.
yes,
for
yeah,
it
yeah.
to be
So-
effective. You know,
So
we
he,
have
so
like a
he comes over with
chamber
the bees, and
and
then Tim just
valving
opens the
and-
garage door and he goes,
I
Wait,
think it's
well,
different, because there's
wait a
so
minute,
many
what is
different
that?
companies
the
and they
guy
do it
says,
all
"Oh, those
something
are the
different.
bees." He says, you told me they're Italian bees, they're nice, why are they wearing a suit?
Because it's-
And then.
But I mean,
he
when
just
you
put it
camera,
on,
are you
and
just looking
the
for
whole
cogs, or are
thing
you
was
looking
on,
at
and
pipe
he goes,
density, or are you looking at
"Bobby,
is it-
perimeter and
how
outer
are you doing
wall?
that?" And then before he did that, I said,
Build up
50,
of
there are 50
the
bees.
or
And then
degradation by the
he's like, oh, like more than
cracks.
50 bees, he gets up and goes, oh no, your colony starts at 10,000.
I know,
So
like
I have
when
to
you
hold
say
over
that
100,000
too,
now to
we're
have two
looking
colonies.
Yeah, in the
for all
backyard.
Yeah.
Next day,
Their
he
buildups,
they see, their,
is
he
there-
says, what
we
happened
found
to
places where we
the
had bellies.
I said, I don't know, you give the guy like
You know,
$500,
where
we
the
tell him
pipe
to
is
put a
settled.
suit on and go work on
You
it.
know,
I've
So
seen a ton of
yeah,
ARVs out
So
here.
the state had to come in and certify and.
Air release
No,
valves,
I didn't put it in your
the
plate.
above
So
ground
here's
air
the
release
question.
valves, so I know they're sagging in
Any
line
other
somewhere
approval
around,
from Community or district in order to have a bee farm?
throughout the
Unless
lines,
it's
but
specifically
Oh.
an adopted, they cannot have it,
I'm just curious.
because the state is
I don't know
legislative.
who's breaking them on that.
Yeah.
She had it in Gateway Green side.
So,
Yeah, but you
Don't
can
you
only.
think right around the golf
When you
course?
guys repair, are you just one for one
Two
replacing, or are you
Two
like?
turtles?
Big turtles.
But it's,
It's a
it's size of lot
the-
depends, so I
the-
can only
the-
have,
So just in his back, in the back.
All right, 9:30, let's
Real
go.
big. Okay, all right.
sorry.
Right.
on the
Okay,
sanitary
let me start
sewer,
here, give me one of your first long-term goals, and let's see if they have anything close.
Park plan.
It was.
A park
it was a
plan.
nightmare.
Okay, elaborate.
So we have designated park areas within Gateway. And we have started to work on plans in the past, but we need to establish and codify a park plan, long-term plan.
Short and long.
Short and long-term.
Okay. Did you guys have anything on parks?
We were talking about master plan across the board, and we went even further to say what different categories beyond just parks.
I like the idea of just a master gateway plan. Master gateway plan that's made up of,
Everything?
All the stuff,
All
master
this-
plans,
yeah.
basically.
A
That's
master park plan.
no,
No,
we're saying a
master
master, a gateway master plan.
Oh, okay.
And then underneath that, you've got your landscaping,
Utilities.
utilities,
Yeah.
everything falls under the master plan.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that.
We broke it down by department, and so public works having stormwater, ponds, landscape, parks and rec, utilities having irrigation, water, sewer, not only on the capital side, but the maintenance side. And then from an admin point, we've got, PR, staffing, HR, succession, budgeting, grants, tying those into what we talked about, like a 10
Was that
through
copy of
20.
our stuff?
They-
We'll
they-
put in
they-
charge
they-
of
they-
the
they-
procedures for
Yeah.
So
criteria.
that's all one goal, that's all one.
Multiple plans within plans within plans.
Okay.
Preventative
Goals and
maintenance.
sub-goals.
Preventative
So that's the
maintenance.
roadmap.
You have.
Marta,
more
that's the roadmap that shows us what we're doing over the next 20 years. Then we have to tie that back into our CIP and actually execute it,
Okay.
and our day-to-day operations. So
They have
it's the big
staff
grand
over
scheme
there.
correct plans, but
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So expanding on your Parks and Rec component, Parks and Rec plan, program management and special events, building those out.
What specific skill set do that role?
Yes, exactly.
Second that. I mean, another one of your long-term plans. I mean,
Great,
goals.
great.
So we have a 2-year review of rate studies. So every 2 years, we do a rate study, and that would
All
include
rates.
all rates,
All rates.
utilities, parks.
Strategy,
Well,
everything.
your utilities right now are on a 5-year based on your rate study, and then your general fund fees are yearly in tandem with the budget.
Well, whatever it is, we just want to make sure we've got a documented
yeah.
rate study
We
plan.
wanna- Yeah.
Now,
We may not update it every 2 years for that particular item, but then now if you tell me there's something that's on a yearly basis, then we should.
Yeah.
we should
So I'm
review
just going to say, it's just we need a rate
It's a-
study
It's a
plan.
rate plan.
Yeah, rate plan.
Okay. How about one over here?
so we have everything.
Well, are you talking short or long, or
We're
just?
still on a long term.
Long-term? Honestly, everything ties back into those master plans. So until you get those in place, it's hard to tell with long-term. We focus more on the short-term things.
You have any other long terms?
How about assessment?
Updating the assessment methodology.
GIS.
Or reviewing it over every 5 year, maybe that is in tandem with your
Okay, so
rates.
we didn't, that's a new one.
So what is that?
Assessment methodology.
assessment.
Assessment methodology review, right? So you want to do
Well,
that?
that's part of the rate deal.
Just to make sure it's correct, the way we're doing it.
So with that fall, yeah,
I don't think
You probably
slash, like.
you would have your rate plan / assessment methodology. Did you,
I don't think that's a every year thing. I mean, it's an
no,
every
it's
year
just
thing.
part of the short term.
It's every year to calculate it.
Yes,
It's not every year to change
Come up with
the
one.
methodology.
I would say
You
that would
might
be
want
a
to update it.
every 5 years, we're gonna take a deep dive into the
Well,
assessment.
what I was
methodology.
thinking is, our short-term goal is to establish a rate plan assessment methodology review. That's the goal. When that takes place is determined on the short-term goal of creating that structure, that plan. That's, that we were kind of thinking.
Just
Yeah,
gotta double
like your
off the
master
table.
plan. We have a
Yeah.
lot of
Look
those,
at
you know, that the goal, the short-term goal is to establish these things. How it's executed could be, every other year, 3 years, 5 years, whatever.
Establish a long-range methodology review?
No, just establish a rate plan and assessment methodology cycle.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're moving into, go ahead.
You mentioned GIS.
I mean, we have a list of ours.
Yeah, we got.
Oh, we're gonna move into,
Carol's got some.
the short-term goals then, right?
No, we still.
We're not-
If you're
we still
talking
have
about a
long range.
master plan, to basically say, I don't know if you can do that, but can you basically say, that like in 1 year, we could have a master plan where we would say to people, this is what we think Gateway should look like.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be,
And so, and I
that's your
think-
number one.
But what I believe is just saying the master plan is too big. I mean, I think that starts master plan, but underneath that, like we have master plan, so that would be a park plan, that would be a resource plan, a comprehensive GIS plan,
No,
facility
I-
plan.
Facility plan, a stormwater
Yes,
Yeah.
I understand, Doug, there's other plans underneath of it.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, the first big umbrella, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
I
The
don't think we
first
can
big
do that.
umbrella that says, this is what Gateway's gonna look like.
No, well, the first is, the goal is to build a master gateway plan. What makes up the master plan is the subsequent
All
10,
those
15,
individual
whatever,
plans.
which you will start to make those out, and then once that is complete, then you can go back to your master and say, our master plan is, in these 15 areas, we have, this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens. So,
Your smaller plans are gonna start before your bigger
They're
ones.
gonna dictate your overall.
it's the sum of all.
Well, since we're built out, the actual planning of what we're gonna be doing is pretty well been predetermined. We know.
A lot of this stuff is actually even in flight, we just need to structure it.
Yeah.
you know,
Formalize.
Formalize, yeah.
Formalize it.
So Doug, did you put that in a smart goal for me? Can you just like, can you tell me what that would sound like as a smart goal?
Okay, so it would be, the short-term goal would be to establish a master gateway plan.
Just,
Okay.
I think that's long-term.
How about
How can that-
outline?
Well, the
I
short-term
think
is
it
to
could be
establish the
both.
plan,
It could be short and long term.
but it'll be, the individual plans would be the short-term.
Yes,
I mean-
and then once you're complete with all of those, which will take time.
Then you would have
then-
a master.
Then that would be your end long-term plan.
Yeah, but I mean, the first goal is we have to establish a master plan, or the components of a master
But
plan, however you
that's
want to.
not realistic, that we could do that within a short term of time.
Yeah, within a year,
Yes.
yeah, because all this is, probably should be in flight already.
But-
We've seen what's structured as a master plan.
Ah,
So
maybe
what
that's
she's
more
saying is,
specific,
the,
okay.
the long-term goal is to realize, or to have a master plan established and execute.
Almost every one of these plans are going to have a short-term and a long-term component, every one of them.
So like, for example, we have, what was one that we said would be
Physical
short-term?
inventory.
Yeah, okay, so that's a great one. So inventory and management process, I'm sorry, it's the asset inventory life cycle analysis. So the short-term goal is to establish an asset inventory and life cycle analysis. What that means is we have to inventory all of our assets within the district.
What's in
Now-
the warehouse, what's on the truck,
Yeah.
what's,
Now, there could be a longer-term goal, which is to replace, X asset in 15 years, because that's the life cycle. So the first is to establish. The second long-term goal might actually be the executable outcome as a result. If that makes sense.
we
That's
have
the
a
way
method right now, if we've determined previously that we need an XYZ pump in our storage chamber. Okay, when that XYZ pump gets wrecked out, is it automatically replenished? That's the kind of a system.
Well,
We'd like to
put
see.
it-
So let me just run
another-
through our list and you guys, and then you can run through yours. I think it might be quicker than just going back and
Put
forth.
it another way. Does anybody have an identification of what everything is in that garage out there
And then the trucks.
and on the trucks?
Any item over $2,500 or more, yes. Any
Over-
singular item that's over $2,500 or more,
We have
Yeah,
inventory
we took
of
inventory
that.
of
Well, let me
That's
ask you this.
Start then.
Is there,
This year.
is there an item that's under 2,500 that is critical to repair and replacement?
that goes under ops. That's your year-over-year budget.
No, I'm saying if something breaks and you need an item that's under $2,500, how do you know?
And it comes out of
whether you
How do
have
you
it or-
know it's taken?
How do you know it's out of inventory?
And that you need to replenish it?
Who maintains that? For example,
Each
the
department.
6-inch sleeve, you've used the last one.
Staff.
Who-
We keep up with that internally.
That's-
Okay, all right,
So
so,
you have a worksheet or
You're looking at it.
See, we were thinking in terms of physically.
or is it right?
Everything's
Here's
got a
what we're
barcode.
trying to get away
That's
with,
what
is
we
it's
want.
not right here.
Everything that we use has a barcode, and when the guy uses it in the field, he
That's
scans it,
what-
it's used,
So we,
and that tells.
again, we're not solutioning, we're just
so right now
identifying,
in
this is what we
utilities,
feel.
between me, Isaac, and Austin, we're constantly
That's what-
looking and communicating and,
But it's not automated right now.
there's nothing automated now.
So what we said was, it's an inventory management process / system.
Which
If you have one, great, then you've already
part of
completed this
that
goal.
is cartograph, and I believe
We're working on implementing that.
what our new
That in and of itself is a huge.
software.
All right, so let me just go back to my list. So we're not solutioning, we're just identifying the areas. So we have review all SOP manuals. So as an example, stormwater management, permit criteria, HR manuals, whatever falls in that. That should, short-term goals to make sure we're reviewing, they're all up to date.
Ongoing.
Wait, so
Yeah.
now we're back to short term?
Yeah, well, we have like 20 short-term goals.
And we were doing long term.
You're doing long-term first?
Yeah,
We,
so everything you've been talking about is short term?
No, yeah,
Welcome to Gateway.
sorry.
We're both ways.
I thought you started with short-term.
All-
Oh, okay.
she was going over long.
Almost everything we've got.
I'm sorry, I didn't really catch that.
Yeah, okay, you're just gonna have to send me your list. But now I've got it reversed. Okay, well, let's go ahead and finish your short term, go ahead.
Okay, so that's why we were having the conversation on a master plan. The deliverable
Yeah,
is
that's
to
why we were
establish it.
confused,
Okay,
so,
all right,
yeah.
so So we have, review all, standard operating procedures / manuals,
You mean create?
create.
Whatever that means, create, revise,
So-
Create.
abolish,
Create.
adopt.
Review, revise, so create,
Create.
review,
It's create.
revise,
Stacy.
all SOP manuals, and that would be stormwater, so we have a stormwater. We have permit criteria, HR manual, I'm sure there's others, but we need to make sure we get this comprehensive. We already talked about having a rate plan, the rate plan study, which we call it, I didn't make any adjustment, it was rate and assessment. Rate and assessment.
Schedule fees, like, yeah, it's all.
Plan, whatever. Short-term communication plan and strategy. Resource plan / succession planning. Landscape and irrigation plan. We need a comprehensive GIS plan / map. A facilities plan, and what we're talking about facilities, it kind of goes right in line with our asset inventory, which is, we need to know what we physically own, both above ground and below ground. We already mentioned the inventory and management process / system. We need to understand the county road sidewalk plan for Gateway. We need to realize the 2024 priority plan, so we've already established those. We need to make sure we execute and realize those. And I think that's what we have under our short term.
That was a pretty good list.
It's a pretty long list.
Yes. It's not about your
Hopefully a lot of
list.
those already in play.
Yeah, but memorializing that's gonna have to be prioritized.
And part of this, that like, the short term is just to create, establish, it might be
I
a
think
long
the
term deliverable.
Key term, I think Daniel called it out, is to outline.
Yeah.
Outline your master plan. We can outline it and then set what ones you guys want us to do first.
Part of the short term for me, when it comes to like most of the stuff, is we just need to identify what we have, what we don't. Where's the gaps? What are the risks to not having this? Versus we could push this, it doesn't matter if we don't have this standard operating procedure right now, because it's not great. But other things, it could impact us from a liability or operationally or whatever.
So from an operational standpoint, what we were talking about, we have items that are currently going on right now, talking CIP and the bond stuff. We have to spend 85% of those bond proceeds within 3 years. So we are on a deadline to get those things done. And then we've got the enterprise bonds that are coming right behind them. So all of those projects from an operational standpoint are top priority because we have to spend the money.
But most of those have already been defined.
Yes,
We know what they are.
but we have to,
Break it
We gotta
down.
make it happen.
yeah, we gotta make it happen.
Use it or lose it.
That's
Yeah.
what I call the ponds effect. We have all these ponds, but
Well,
I don't know if we
your problem with.
execute on all of them.
But the problem on ponds is where it's out of our hands, is we don't have enough people to perform the work to get it.
Well, and we have the
And
weather
time.
too.
That's a little bit
And
different.
weather too.
And the time.
And,
weather.
yeah, the weather.
The timeline is a variable.
But what she's talking about, basically utility projects where we've got a line of things lined up to spend that money.
Yeah.
The deal is getting it done.
You have to have a schedule, and that schedule has to be like,
Yep.
part of even the bid packages, there
Yeah.
has to be
Well, you gotta get
some
it
risk
designed, you gotta
to
get
you
it
not
designed,
delivering
You gotta
this.
get a bid, and then you gotta get it built.
But I think we have to bake in some risk into some of these bids if they're not completed on time, because it could create issues.
Well,
They are there, they are there. We're not very good at holding people accountable.
Well, that's probably not.
Yeah, when you start
Sorry.
talking about timelines and paying money for not achieving a deal, then you gotta have the reward sign.
Yeah.
And it gets ugly, don't go down that road. The
so,
things that are weather related, you're just going to have to live with them, i.e. our ponds.
so we took the notion of looking at the success, what are they called? Our success statement and looking at what we came up with that could cross to that. And one of the big things Carol was talking about was really public outreach and putting out these fires, getting ahead of that. And with public outreach, kind of ties into your PR, communication plan, tying maybe some of these education, clearing the air with special events, talking about having like a safety day or something like that, or come meet the staff, or, and then, from operationally, just uniformity. You know, I think from the utility side, we're trying to get all the pumps the same, all the fencing the same, all the, you know, you name it the same. And then same thing on the public works side is we're trying to do the same thing. So, but all of this we've got the ball moving, like talking about master plans. Austin and Bill have been working on a 5-year plan B. So explaining how all these things tie in. We had the capital reserve study done for the enterprise fund. At the end of that report, they gave recommendations on things that we should be implementing. Austin has since been one of those things is a full system-wide sanitary sewer jetting and cleaning. So Austin has put together a 5-year plan that we can tackle these communities in this. So
we gotta watch this one, because some of this stuff is in South Florida Water Management papers that we sign that say we're doing it.
No, we're doing.
I'm shaken when I read that because we have not been doing it.
We've done, since I've been here, we have done some. It has not been uniform. We haven't hit every single pipe. So we've got internally this 5-year plan that we put together. We just haven't memorialized it and said, here's.
It's been more need-based, like we know we have I&I over here,
Yeah.
so we concentrated in this area.
We've got sanitary sewers that manholes have never been opened in this community. Never been opened.
Okay, so back
And you
to
can tell that because they're buried.
Short-term goals is these, memorializing some of these plans and prioritizing these smaller goals.
That's not.
You're not going to be able to do everything.
Right.
Which means then that you gotta establish the priorities of
Right.
what's the tallest fire, and you go down the
Right.
road line.
Right.
And that's where staff's gonna have to come in, because they work with it day in, day out, to identify what those high fires are that we attack. And make sure that those are on the plan to be done first.
Well, if we have a plan, we'll know the areas that we have done.
Yeah.
Versus the areas we haven't done.
Cartograph, is gonna be our, silver lining.
That's what
Everything that you talked about
It's
between
all
the
record.
GIS,
Asset
the
management.
inventory, asset management, work order system, the front end user C-click fix. So, and full implementation, I would say, of Cartograph would be a short-term goal.
And bringing the board up to speed is what that's gonna give us.
Yeah.
I've heard cartograph, never realized what it does.
Yeah.
Sounds like fish.
That's the line on our spot.
CARTE, graph, GRAPH.
And since you were talking, there were 2 things that came up that are more on the softer side. We have a tendency to focus on all the stuff we gotta get done and all the operational things. But there's 2 that I think are really important for us growing as a district and an organization. One is that we have to do some culture planning, from who we are. And I'm really talking about just the district gateway services internally for our staff. What's the culture we want to bring? How do we operate in the field? How do we deal with residents? How do we work with, whatever. So I think we need to focus attention on culture planning. The other kind of goes along with that is, I think we need some type of PR or campaign around gateway identity.
Yeah.
What is gateway? We haven't had like a gateway
Absolutely.
plan or
And Pelican,
theme.
Absolutely.
And, do it in the golf club, we do it in Pelican, like it's,
A marketing.
We've gotta let
plan.
people know who we are and what we do.
Yeah, and that should tie into our goals, our mission statement, like for the next 3 years, next 3 to 5 years, it's,
Is that long term, you think?
I think
It
it's,
has to be short.
it is short-term, but it's both a short-term and a long-term execution.
Yeah,
Like
right.
get behind,
Definitely, yeah.
We broke it out another layer and had a midterm in there as well. So we have the short-term things that we know we have to do, just to get us started. Having a midterm that are some short to mid-range things that we know we can get accomplished, so that we're getting some traction, and then we have our long-term.
5 years
there
out.
was,
Yeah.
it was.
Every time we do a budget, the issue comes in is that our public, they don't understand what we do. And so their first objection is, why are we paying that? Why are you raising my rates?
Yeah.
So it's the educational side. How do we educate them? We tell them about the building. We told them about the building 100 times. They don't want to come in and learn, because if they learn, then they'll realize that it was needed. They don't, it's just an objection to spending money.
Well,
And
we've
you've
also
got to
got
educate them
turnover,
as to
Rick.
why we have to
You
spend
got
money.
new people that haven't been exposed. I mean, people we have moving in and out all the time. I'm surprised at how big the
Yeah,
turnover rate
but Bob, when we have our meetings, I can almost sit down with a piece of paper and write the name of the 10 pitchers that are gonna be here about the
is.
race.
But what about all those people that
Same
don't even know us?
Every,
Okay, let's get
every
back to
year.
the goals.
But I mean, but my point is, it's educating the public.
Yeah. I
How do
know,
I
I got that
educate
loud
the
and
public
clear.
that doesn't
That's
want to be
important.
educated?
PR
Well,
marketing.
There's there's lots of things, I mean, just, announcing that we are maintaining a community,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's our job.
that's a premier community. I mean, saying that over and over in everything that we do, that kind of thing gets the word out. But anyway, so we are finished with short term?
Well, I had one very, very short-term one. I think we should design and implement a PR program for the administrative building before it breaks ground. And Chelsea is saying basically the end of this year, January 1st. So we should have started it now, basically October 1st, telling people this is going to happen, why it's happening, da-da, what's going to be contained there, what's going to,
You won't have to choose what building to go to pay the utility bill versus inquire about something
That's
else.
pretty cool, isn't it?
One location.
Well, this goes into like
and have it done by January 1st,
That's
when
exciting.
And
we
where's
break
it?
ground.
Let everybody know.
This goes into the concept I was talking about. If we had
It was
a
very
key
short.
messaging for Gateway, let's just say, I'll use what we were talking about, so a premier community of choice. If everything we do is to create or to maintain Gateway as a premier community of choice, that is roundabout with a beautiful fountain. It's an administrative building, it's building out parks, it's, landscaping, it's all these things. So it's not just, when people say, oh, look at this, the roundabout, I'm not thinking of the roundabout, but it's gonna be nice because it's gonna continue to position Gateway as a premier community. So now you're leading, but it's a marketing campaign. We have to brand and market what we do, or else people don't understand why we have an administrative building. Well, here's
And we're the
here's
only
value,
ones that
and-
can
and
do
the
it.
PR that goes along with
Why
that.
we
Same-
pay it for it?
Yeah,
Why
same
we
thing
pay
like with the roundabout, like we had mentioned at one of the board meetings. Would have been nice in the very beginning to have a beautiful sign of what the fountain looks like. So when you drive by, as you're bitching about having to slow down, you see this beautiful fountain, you're like, gosh, that's really gonna be beautiful when it's done. So my thought goes to what an asset this is gonna be in community, as opposed to, God,
Well, the same thing with.
I gotta deal with this construction for.
The same thing we have on the discussion of the 5 or 6 monuments, introducing the community when you come in, having that to me, that, when you go to a nice community, the first thing you see is usually a pretty nice sign that is not.
The nice communities have nice entrances.
That's right, that's right.
Okay, so is that our short-term goal is?
We
Yeah.
definitely need to, on short-term council, let's get that out there. Let's get it in front of the curve.
Yeah.
Don't ever people riding by, I wonder what that is.
Right.
And who do you
And,
want to
and,
present?
and like a year from now, I would like people to say, I don't know what it is, but this place looks better.
We should have done this
I,
years ago.
Gateway looks better.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that will not
Okay,
happen.
how about long-term?
They'll be bitching about it.
So,
You never
I
know.
need some
Why are we
education.
taking this
How
time?
are we going about the way we communicate?
Well,
What avenues do we use in order to
That's our
communicate?
problem.
And is it hitting the demographics that we need to hit
We
throughout the
really
process?
don't have.
No,
any
no,
avenues.
right now.
Well, I would say it is better, it's been better the last,
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
it's been better the last couple of years than it has ever been.
Yeah, since we
Because
started the
actually
president's
have-
group.
We have a social media strategy. Again, the problem is the way our residents consume,
Well, I know
because
in
of the
our,
demographics.
I know in our community, when you send out something to get it out to the community, Lori has it on the street immediately. Are the other 52 doing that?
No,
See, I think what a lot of it is that some of these, they don't have cams, they have what we call portfolio cams. They do next to nothing.
We've heard
And
that
they
from
don't wanna do
residents.
any work. And so consequently, those associations like Timber Ridge and have the portfolio cams, if they want to put that out, they have to pay extra to do it. And so what happens? They don't do it.
So long-term, I would say,
But that's our only really good way to
implementation
communicate, is
of
through
master
the
plans.
associations.
Well, we could put a requirement in, the CAMs must do certain basic functions.
But see, the board still want to pay for it.
Well, so to
That's
answer
the
your
problem.
question, it's better than it ever has been. It's not optimal because we have to tailor our strategy to how information is consumed and really get creative. I mean, I think that.
And we have to rely on
If we do an event, Yeah. What I've done, from living in this community for 20 years and putting on multiple events, the best thing that I can do is put up 2 banners in this community, so when people drive by, they go, oh, there's a movie
Boat
night,
race or whatever.
or there's a fishing tournament. We just don't have, for a billboard or an electronic sign or anything like that.
Physical, tangible.
Yeah.
Way to be.
People are gonna ride past it, and it's word of mouth too. That's where we have to identify maybe,
Well,
who's our
I-
group of influence.
So on Griffin Drive, almost across from 7-Eleven, we have the lift station, and last year, the year before that, we fenced it.
Yeah.
So now we have a 20-foot long something we
It's a
could
good
attach a
idea. It's a
banner
really good
to.
idea,
It's
actually.
right there.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
that
know,
would be,
Or
If
put
you-
an electronic stuff.
If you go on, and this is something we've done in the past, if you go on Facebook in any community, there's probably 5 people that are always posting stuff. Most times they're bitching, but they're always posting. We can identify, like Randy needs to identify who are the influencers, get them, hey, we'd love to be able to send you information, and have you, if you post it on your site, it's gonna get reposted and all that stuff, so it becomes a whole, strategy and campaign around our information going by where they wanna go by. But we have to, I'm sorry? Yeah. Yeah, the challenge is we have to drive the narrative. We can't be reactive.
Like
Yeah,
a
and I
community,
agree with
not just.
And we have done better at
So-
replying to stuff too.
I've utilized a communications manager in the past that have used some tools like Everbridge, which is like an online mass alert system that you can send things out with, just other tools.
Yeah.
But what's landing at the doorstep, so it's being received by residents.
Ideally, the only mechanism we have today to capture phone numbers or messaging is the code red.
Well, we're working on constant contact.
So, constant contact, if we had an opportunity where people could opt in, and get alerts,
Your
I'm
problem
sure
is, Doug, how do you get to them to let them know that there's the problem, it's
QR codes
how
out
do you
there.
get it done?
and so what you do is you have a sign in Gateway with a QR code, and maybe some people won't have any idea what that means, but you have to deliver different mechanisms that are gonna meet your demographic, and it's not gonna happen overnight. You're talking about probably a year, maybe 6 months, to work with the president's councils, going to, putting stuff in different posts, putting, something in
Maybe
the.
that's what we ought to have for next Tuesday night, is have just a brief discussion with the president's deal of what you were talking about, Carol, of this announcement of this building coming, and let that
Ed,
be
have
the.
you looked at the agenda for next week? We've already got it on there.
Come on, Ed, pedal fast.
I just realized we had a meeting to tell you the truth.
I saw it on my calendar.
All right, let's get back to goal
But-
setting, okay?
But
That's
the
why-
issue is how do we get the public involved? And we've had a nightmare doing that for years. It's just, you get municipal people, you go to our meetings, you'll see what I mean. The same 10 people come to every meeting.
So let's put a PR, this is a goal, to have a PR/marketing campaign put together. And let staff draft it. We are working on a lot of this internally. But we can, again, memorialize it in flight, and that can be a short-term goal. I think that's something we can accomplish.
And that's something I think if we need to reach out for some consulting on that, I think
Oh,
it's that important.
I agree.
Why wouldn't we, tell me if we're off left field here, why wouldn't we be able to assist any one of these 53 HOAs, let's say particularly the ones that don't do anything?
Yeah.
Why can't we do it for them?
What do you mean?
Why can't we come up with a wording, a whatever, and send it out for them?
We asked.
We won't rely on their
Okay.
CAM, we'll do it ourselves.
Wait a minute, let me even back this up a second. I think every HOA struggles with content management. What if we were to find a system that all of our HOAs could use. They opt in for a minimal cost, but it's gonna be like best in class, top of the line, easy to use. And so basically we end up with a repository that is partitioned by HOA.
Does something like that exist?
Yeah. I mean, like a constant contact would be a good example. I want to make sure that it was like, and you could send out newsletters and all this stuff. Like we would have a
See, we
enterprise.
do that now.
Yeah.
We do that now, but it's just our own property management firm has it.
We are working on circumventing the camps in the HOA. We are working and getting directly to the residents, so.
And let me just say one thing, because normally what happens when you have a property management company, they use whatever they have and they house that information. If that property manager leaves, a lot of times you lose that system, you may not be able, you don't get the update. So if we say, we're gonna solve your problem from creating a repository that's backed up on a server that you have access to, we partition, per HOA, but you'll get discounted price, more functionality and stability.
I got over 1,400 email addresses, but I can't give them to you. The attorney says you can't do that. We have no authority to give the email
Well,
addresses
that's,
to you.
again, that's why we're trying to
And
circumvent it.
that's what creates the problem.
Well, that's why when you opt in to the district alerts and your association
All
alerts.
right, let us work through this.
So,
Let us-
so I was listening to back there, so I just want to do this. Yes, we couldn't supply you the information, however, the information is available to you
Through
via
the-
billing
Yeah.
and via Lee County.
Yeah.
So all of our residents, our voters, meaning owners or not, are the majority, and I noticed I've seen it, I order the list every 4 years, it's there. So
I think that's.
it's $25
We have
on Lee County.
All right.
Elections. We're gonna do $25, they give it all to you,
Email addresses?
all of it, email
We have
address,
it all
phone
on our
number,
billing
everything.
system.
Well, don't we have all of our enterprise people? That's a list right there.
Okay,
This is a great discussion, but we do have something we're trying to achieve. Sit down.
We're trying to solve the problem today.
All right, we want to get back to this discussion about our core focus areas, and everything that we've been doing has been working us up to these areas. And yesterday, looking at our success statement, I think we had them, but I worked on them a little bit last night, and I want to check with you because my vision is from, remember the draft you saw yesterday, is that the plan that you make from this meeting will have these as your core areas and your goals will be underneath these. Now, what worries me a little bit about the discussion we just had is I did not hear SMART goals. I heard we need to do this and we need to do that. What I'm looking for is something specific that says, this is what we're gonna do within this time frame, following the SMART criteria.
Wasn't that whole discussion about item number 4? We just went through.
Yes. And did you hear any specific goals in that?
Yeah, we
We
want
need to develop a PR plan. When? Who's gonna do it? Who has responsibility for it? What's our
Chelsea's got all
timeline?
that.
Well, that probably isn't gonna work.
She's the big boss.
She's like one person, of course, she's accountable, but,
You're on the edge.
She's a force of nature. What of that?
You're on the edge.
That is by design of what our board is supposed to be doing. We
set the
dictate
goal.
direction and
You set the goal and I implement it.
Well, I think our issue is that there are so many things we've got that are on the table. It's you can't do them all.
It's a lot.
Which
It's
is
a
why-
lot, and
which
so
is
you
why
gotta
we
then
need to have
prioritize
it
which
written
one's the
down.
most important.
this is why we need to have it written down. This is why we need this kind of a plan, so.
It
that we
scared
can
us the
say-
last time we wrote it down.
The writing's the easy
understand.
part,
I get that.
implementing's the hard part.
But once we write it down, we'll never have to do it again. We'll just keep
Yeah,
changing
just
it,
keep
the
right?
environmental
Okay,
challenge.
okay. Is this right? Are these our core focus areas? Does this capture
Are you
everything?
gonna send this up?
This? This?
Hmm?
Which one is that?
Are you guys talking about something else now? Because that,
So when we go through, we have a goal or a priority. It needs to meet these guiding principles or these
Fall
core
into one of
focus
those
objectives. So
categories.
if we're doing this, does it impact quality of life? Does it impact, it doesn't have to necessarily hit all of these, but we need to make sure it
we
hits.
want to
whatever.
group them under these categories.
Yeah, okay.
So what goals do we need to put in place for quality of life? And maybe that's where your parks plan
Parks and Rec
goes.
school there, okay.
What about community improvements and maintenance? What goes under that?
We
should-
have one beautification projects.
There you go. Financial viability and integrity.
That's your planning and procedures and.
Grant management.
Transparency, communication, that whole discussion we just had.
That's the one we just got stuck on.
Environmental challenge, what goes there?
Well, that's some specific, what you said around the ponds or there's.
ponds, right.
Wetlands conservation areas.
Or-
Boardwalks.
Landscaping could go.
Landscaping and irrigation
Yeah.
could go in
And
there.
what kind of things would
Nothing
go
to
under
water out
sense
the
of
deal when
pride?
We have to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Culture building.
Culture, maybe our
HR,
PR plan goes
yeah.
there.
Community events,
Community events.
Yeah.
Community of choice.
educational outreach programs.
Community of choice.
So you see how, what we're trying to do here is divide it into categories for you, so that you have all these things listed under categories that contribute back towards these core focus areas, which go back to your success statement. So if we cover these areas, we're ensuring our success by putting all of our goals underneath these areas. Make sense?
Yes.
Anything we can do should hit 2 of those, because number 6 should be encompassed in anything that we do.
Well,
Which to do with
the
the system.
truth
Well,
is-
one and six.
It's all connected.
Connected, I was gonna
Right.
say, it's all
Well,
one
matter of
vision
fact,
and
The
all
more
to
of these you
vision.
hit,
You just funnel
The
backwards.
better-
That's
the
it.
better we
Wait, I have to say, could you please say that again?
You're just gonna have to funnel everything backwards, go back to that, and it goes back to your vision, and it goes
Yeah.
back to your mission.
It's all connected, but what we're gonna do is try to break it out into manageable chunks so that we don't, like, I'm sitting here going, oh my God, what Chelsea.
I say, oh my God, poor Chelsea too.
We need manageable chunks so that we
Poor
can
Bill
assign,
Daniel.
we can assign reasonable timeframes and responsibility so that Chelsea can, so that she can say, this needs to be done by this person, this needs to be done by this department. You know, she needs that master plan, so to speak, in order to be able to do all these things that we're talking about. This is how we chunk it, this is how we break it out into this kind of I'm having trouble with it. This kind of situation where we're gonna put your main categories, you know, here, and here, and then we're gonna have each one of your different things here. You can break it out however you want. That's what we're aiming for. Right? What are you thinking now? Can
I'm
we do
thinking
this?
staff's.
Give me an example
Give you an example?
Yeah.
Parks and Rec.
of what you're.
All right, so one of our core areas, I think I'm just,
There you go.
so one of our core areas is transparency, communication, and responsiveness. We just had this whole discussion about that. Everything that we talked about, PR, all those things become goals underneath this.
So a PR/marketing plan would be one underneath this. It would be assigned to Randy, and I would put a time and date deadline on it.
Okay? So sense of pride, you know, we had this big discussion about the community, that community event that you're thinking about, where we do this big gateway day where everybody comes out, sees our new mission and vision, and we just educate. That'd be a sense of pride to help people to understand our vision of being a premier community where everybody wants to be, right? So everything that we just talked about would fit within these categories. I mean, did you hear anything that you didn't think fit?
It almost seems like we have too many goals.
We're going to have a
That's what I said
lot.
earlier.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of goals. You just gotta
And-
prioritize them.
And it's like too much, so,
Overwhelming.
yeah.
I don't
Well,
think
not
So
everything can
where
happen
do you-
overnight.
Do what?
Exactly.
Not
Which
everything
is
can
why I've
happen
been trying to say
overnight.
short term,
That's
long term.
exactly right.
That's where prioritizing becomes.
I don't think you have too many goals,
We have to have them there, so we know they are too many, or they're
Right.
black off.
because that's what we are,
Yeah.
really, and if that's the expectation of being a premier community. Now, when we execute them, the timing of that, that's for us
Right.
to figure out. And you guys may say, look, we're doing, we want irrigation down the rest of Griffin, that's a top priority right now. That goes to the top of our list.
My thing is, when you look back to where we were 7 years ago, it's unbelievable how far it's come. It's unbelievable. But when you look as to what we just discussed, it's, we haven't gone very far,
Always still
but it's
long way
a
to
hell of a
go.
lot better than it was.
And it'll always be a moving
It
target.
is, it is, it is.
Right, which is the whole purpose of this plan, is to have that on paper.
Right.
Because then it's easier to change it than it is to recreate it.
Right, exactly,
Well,
because
and-
things are gonna come and go.
And use these roundabouts. I mean, that wasn't planned. It came up, we had to pivot and we had to reprioritize. Staff are spending, a lot of time down there this year, but, so some of the other goals that we perhaps wanted to accomplish had to get delayed.
Well, getting the basic plan, like we talked about, the master plan, and then getting the things that are under that. To me, just getting that identified is a hell of a start. Because then you can start then picking which one has this is the hot area first, we hit this one, whatever.
Well, I think it's the outline of the master plan.
All right, Lorna?
I mean, I could definitely see that as a one-year goal.
Get it started.
Right.
That's the first one you got.
And the other thing from a relatively new person is, if you don't tell your story, nobody else is going to. And I don't think you guys have ever told your story.
We have ever told her story.
We have ever told your story.
We may have told the story, but
The
we didn't have anybody listening.
GSCDD has never
That's
told
the
their
problem.
story.
Did we communicate in a way that people would listen?
That
Well-
was the biggest thing from 3 years ago. I'm like, yes, you are sending emails out, but nobody reads it. It's in the building information, nobody reads it. And that's how we started, okay, what do they read? Social media. So from now on, expectation, you're gonna start making videos.
Well, not only
People
that,
watch videos.
not only that, they tell us when we can't be there. So we have a nighttime meeting. Say damn people show up.
Yeah.
And so they're not
It has to be
interested.
something that's engageable with them.
I've seen different genres or, categories of people and how they receive. We've done YouTube videos, like board meetings for YouTube
mean, they
videos. and we
do.
throw those links out there and we get stuff. And then there's people that like texts and then emails, and just figuring out what platform works to reach the broadest.
Here's
Scope.
here's how we're gonna try to do this. We have to help Chelsea to be able to write this thing, right? We have to help her to figure out where stuff fits.
To help her execute.
So I have sheets here with each one of these 4 focus areas on it. And we're gonna get into 3 groups of 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 2. And then you're gonna work on one sheet, you're gonna finish it, you're gonna pass it to the next group. Everybody's gonna write something on all 6 sheets, every group. Now, what you'll do is look back and you might see they already covered it fine. But let's try to think in terms of how to write a goal. Specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, time frame. So don't just write, we need to do a master
I think
plan.
that almost falls for you to do it. Because you need to take all the input from us and
But
say,
I want you to try to be as specific as you can and not just say, write a master plan.
Before we do this, can we, because we have these ideas of these different master plans, can we talk about those and put those on
Where they
one of
fit, yeah,
these?
let's work on
Start with that first?
We can do that, let's work on that.
Well, can we throw one up on the board and literally grab a marker and just brainstorm everybody?
No, that's what we're gonna do as a whole, so.
But I like that.
I'm concerned about documenting all this. Because, yesterday. So we
Well,
are trying to
okay.
be careful about how we document it.
but that's fine. That's
Let's do
up to
Flip
Chelsea. She's
chart
scared
in
that
front of
and
Yeah.
put it in
Yeah,
the
we'll do a couple
record.
flip
Well, I mean, if
charts.
we write it on the wall over there, you're getting camera coverage.
Okay, we'll put it up on
So
a flip
as long
chart
as the
then.
camera can see it.
We have our markers here.
A couple more, 2 more. I got,
That's why one of my.
sorry,
friends
not to
uses it.
go there.
No, this is great. I want
I
this to
think
be
there's
a lot.
too much detail.
Only for 5 years.
Can we
I
say
mean-
that?
Yeah.
Where you say that,
Do we need all 6 of them?
in that,
They'll just,
I
yeah,
just need one more.
it'll be captured and codified on an actual document that we call
Oh, we done?
working document.
No,
No.
no.
no, we're just starting.
Yeah, we've only just begun.
Oh.
Oh, we need one more.
Yep.
Carol, one more sheet.
I feel like I'm on board a train, but I don't know where it's going.
Yeah, but it's kind of like a cruise ship, but unlimited food. I'm on the top.
That's all he thinks about
He's
food.
always on the food.
A cruise ship.
That's all he thinks about food.
All I do it 3 times.
You know, only thing we're missing is the open bar.
Ooh.
Environmental stewardship.
What am I doing? Okay,
We like those blueberries.
They're good.
It's good for you.
okay.
Where'd you get those?
Publix.
Oh,
Oh, wait, what, no, Georgia made those.
Georgia made these?
Georgia makes.
Homemade.
Georgia's a baker.
Wow.
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah.
Now I'm gonna have to try.
Okay.
I know, I wasn't going to.
Neither
Okay.
am I.
Strictly talking,
Here, half.
strictly talking about master plans. All right. We need, so we've got a bunch of them identified of these sub-plans, but I need you guys to tell me which category you think it would fall under. So let's start with public works. So we've got the stormwater ponds. Which category is that gonna fall under?
Environmental
You guys think it all falls under environmental?
Wait a minute.
And quality of life too.
and quality of life.
So, or not Georgia.
How do you do multiple categories?
How do you do multiple
I think
categories?
you picked the most, I think it's environmental.
Okay.
I mean, everything's gonna
So
affect
this is-
quality of life.
Yeah, there's gonna be a primary.
But it's gonna be
I think.
financial,
Yeah.
it's gonna be big time financial, because that's where it all leads to,
All right.
spending a lot. of
What
money.
about landscape? Landscaping master plan.
Landscape shoots roads.
Community
Improvement and
That's our quality of
maintenance.
life.
What's quality of life?
I think it is an improvement in maintenance.
Community improvement, yeah. I like that.
Landscaping,
Community improvement and
Yeah,
maintenance.
sorry.
That's what I think.
Landscape, under landscape master plan, fall under this?
Community improvement.
I think landscape is so visible
I think it's quality
that
of life.
people,
That's why they
It's a
call it
quality of life.
it's a quality
I
of
do.
life, and it's something where they,
It's us,
if you improve it,
it's part of us.
people will say, oh, this
It's
is
also a
better.
sense of pride if it's done well.
What
It's
do
a
you-
sense of
What do you
pride.
think it's most relatable to though? A landscape
I think
master
it's,
plan.
I would argue I'd be fine putting quality of life, even though it does enhance community improvement, which I think those could be flipped. So I'm fine, you can just. throw it.
I'm more community improvement.
What do you think, Daniel?
Community improvement,
Yeah.
maintenance.
You guys good with that?
I think it's community improvement.
But it could
It's
either.
an established thing that we're maintaining, so.
Yeah.
All right. What
You don't
about
even- You don't
parks,
see irrigation until the plants die.
Yeah.
You
What
know?
about-
That's true.
Parks and Rec? A Parks and Rec master plan.
Quality of life.
Yeah.
Uh,
A community improvement,
I'm still
quality of
community
life.
improvement on that too, but
Parks
quality of
and-
life's kind of hard to.
What makes the difference?
I think quality of life, because this is, kids getting to play, people getting to walk and exercise and
Okay.
take care of themselves and,
Let's throw in quality of
fitness
You,
and-
you think parks, I think amenities, and what are amenities more for than
Quality of
anything
life.
else, your quality of life?
So are we good with putting
Yeah.
under
Yeah,
quality?
quality of life.
This is a good idea, Chelsea.
Okay. This is how I compartmentalize it.
Yeah, this is good.
Okay, so is there anything else public works related you guys can think of for a master plan that we would want? 'Cause I think we pretty much
Well,
hit,
we got it under inventory and parts control.
Roadway, we just confirmed we had with Lee County, confirmed the Lee County's roadway plan.
okay. Does that need to be a goal? Or
Yeah, we need to pin that down. We need to try to pin the county down on that plan.
on what their, so you think that would fall under here?
Uh,
What do you guys want to call it?
I-
What are we doing?
Well, that's what I'm trying to understand is, are we just trying to get an understanding of what they're doing? Because if so, I'll pull
Your
up the.
goals, your
They do
goals.
it to us, we don't do it.
No, but we do have some control of, we have a voice.
But our
What they
planning,
do has ramifications.
our plan, yes, our
Yes.
planning can be
Massive.
dependent on
But
their
do we
plan.
have an action step on that? Is there something
Yes,
we
to-
have to actively do?
We need
What do
we need
have to do?
the roadway and sidewalk plan
We
for
need a
Lee County.
partnership.
for
The
Gateway.
reason is because one,
Why
it's going
do you
to
need
impact
it? What
our
are you gonna do with
infrastructure,
it?
and two, then it's going to impact our landscaping afterwards, so
And
it hits us
irrigation.
both before and after.
And our cost,
Very costly.
like roundabouts.
And
I don't know
money.
if that particular thing would be
The-
us.
That's
Maybe
what I'm
the
thinking.
reaction
I don't
to
see how-
that would be the
Yeah.
plan that nests underneath those.
But if we don't
plans.
get that plan,
But when we were.
Well, that, yes.
Well,
that-
okay,
that's-
hold on.
Surprise, surprise.
This needs to be a specific goal under administration later on.
Okay.
I think.
I don't care where you put it. It's
Okay.
just,
Yeah.
we have to have it.
That's an objective for landscaping, you have to have that to do the landscaping, right?
All right, so anything else public works before I go on to utilities? That you guys can think of? I think the Pelican side
They
too.
don't have,
Is
they
that your
don't
Pelican
have
side?
any.
We don't have nothing on roads.
Or that's gonna go on everything.
What
I
about the
think-
lighting plan? We need to execute on the lighting plan.
We can memorialize it.
We won't do anything with it because we won't be able to have maintenance, inventory, nothing's gonna be on us anymore once it's transition.
Oh,
But what, we can memorialize it. We can, and just say that,
The goal is to complete that project.
So all of the roads that we have are included in the FPL turnover.
yes.
So we don't have then any lighting responsibility whatsoever.
Besides.
We're done,
Besides the soccer field.
besides soccer,
Yeah.
we're done.
We're even having them put in
The
the pool and the parking lot lighting at the new admin building. So we can memorialize that, we can put that here. You guys wanna add?
If it's not done, it needs to be done.
So a lighting master plan, which of these categories?
Why-
About
why do we-
asset
why do-
Communication,
why
because
do we
you're just
do
gonna
that? We don't-
communicate, it's already
we have
done,
no
just
involvement in that.
communication, I don't think
We're
we need to
paying
be
for
there.
it. I mean, it's our,
We're
it's
paying
our,
for it.
it's our priority. But the goal is to make sure that it's.
I think that could fall in underneath that.
They design it, they build it.
We basically oversee the plan. We oversee the execution of the,
Well,
yeah, we oversee.
we
All right.
You're
have
not doing it in good faith.
We
You're
see, we
paying
give
them
what
to
we
do
pay
it.
for.
I'm
Okay,
just-
wait,
executive
I'm
decision.
getting confused about, I mean, everything that we have to oversee is not a goal. I mean, of
Yeah.
course, our job is to get it done, but that's what Chelsea does. She makes sure, I mean, that's already decided. It's not a goal that you guys have to take care of. I mean, it's like, that's done, and that's
Accountability,
yeah.
How is that a goal for us? I'm getting confused about that, but not saying it doesn't need to be done, it does, just like what Chelsea's doing.
But it's on our priority.
What, okay, we can do this, let's compromise. Let's put it under community improvement and maintenance, and what, because I'm thinking template. Like,
Yeah.
it's already assigned, we can already give an update, we can already set an
Okay.
end date.
Okay,
So we'll just do, we're talking master plan, so this is a lighting,
okay, got it.
which honestly,
Street lighting,
okay.
that's what it is.
Whatever the kind is.
I just want to
Well,
call,
you
I just
could
want to call it lighting, because
You could have sidewalk lighting.
But that's what they are,
walkway
but that's
So-
what they are.
pedestrian.
It's all inclusive.
here's my point. Pelican is starting to go down the same path that you guys went down a year ago. So from that realm, it's still a goal, it's still a to-do.
Right.
So I'm just gonna leave it as lighting.
Okay.
I mean, I can do here in the street. All right. On the utility side, an irrigation master plan.
Community improvement.
Like landscaping, community improvement. We gotta go hand in hand, can't do one without the other.
Yeah, that's community improvement and maintenance.
All right.
Well, there's,
I know.
be two components to that. One is the distribution system, and then one is
But we
the,
can break those out underneath
Okay.
that goal, underneath the separate goals. All right, what about the water side, the potable side, the potable master plan?
Still community improvement.
So community improvement, and then sewer, we
Same
think
thing.
the same thing?
yeah. Water-
Sewer don't work, there goes pride.
That's funny.
We flush with pride.
Funny guy. Okay, so now, is there anything else utility related you can think of? As a master plan? Okay. I think Doug mentioned this one earlier. What about facilities? And I'm not gonna compartmentalize this to utilities or
Well,
public
I was
works.
gonna ask if the new tank and.
Yeah,
tank
that's
repair
what I'm
and
thinking,
the- and the-
facilities.
And the well, the new well, is that all under
Here,
what we have there?
Those would be, those specific would fall under those different master plans and those different categories.
Okay.
So what about facilities?
I'm
I
gonna
think
say,
it's still community improvement.
I think it's quality of life. I mean, like you're talking about your new building, it's like, that's gonna
The
improve my
building,
quality
your
of life, it's all
workshop,
gonna be in one
all of
place.
that.
Doug, what were you thinking when you were talking about facility improvement, like
Yeah.
facilities? Like-
Well, we said create a facility plan. That was physical,
Okay,
it's And also, I think it aligned with our asset inventory. So we need to understand what we have, what we own both above ground and below ground, so we can create a maintenance or replacement schedule for it.
And I looked at that when we were talking about it being part of the financial liability. We're protecting the assets of the district, knowing where everything is.
What do you guys think?
Asset management master plan. That all falls in there, I think that's all.
Facility slash asset management, and do we want that, where do we think that would best fit?
Financial liability.
Financial, because that's really gonna tie back into cost.
And
Deal
being
with that.
fiscally responsible.
That's gonna drive the priority of replacements, things along those lines and what we have
Okay.
budget.
What about, public relations? A public relations marketing,
Sense of
Sense
Sense
right.
of pride.
No.
Communication.
Yeah,
transparency.
transparency and communication.
Sorry. Staffing, HR, and succession planning.
Probably financial management.
We need a miscellaneous.
We need almost something around operation.
Well, I think it's probably financial.
Well, it's gonna be improvement in maintenance and financial.
That could be quality of life too, because if you don't have staff to do all this stuff, you got nothing.
If I were gonna throw a dart, I'd put it in financial.
Everybody good with financial? All right. What about budgeting and grants? And that kind of ties into CIP.
Financial.
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 All right. GIS, does that kind of tie back into this one? Right? Facilities and asset management?
I look at GIS as much communication.
Or is that
as
a quality
anything
of
else.
life?
You know, it's kind of the biggest thing I want to get at GIS is that the residents know what we have, where it is, and what it does. That goes into communication. We'll use it
And
differently than
transparency,
they will.
yeah.
Depends on the user.
So you guys want to put it under here? From an operational standpoint, we use GIS as as
Totally differently,
Yeah.
correct. Yeah, that's why I say it's kind of dual head.
Use it as what?
As a
operational.
management tool.
We use it as a work order management tool, asset management tool,
Oh.
It
cost.
wasn't financial, I guess. If
So
that's what we were
Do you guys,
using
well,
for
do you
it.
guys want to just kind of slash this with GIS? Or do you want to put it under transparency, communication, and
Why
responsibility?
can't you do both?
We're having two
Pick
different
one.
uses?
Yeah, they're different
Yeah,
uses.
they're different uses.
We have a-
Absolutely different uses.
Front-end user, so the residents and the public?
So maybe we should do GIS front and GIS back.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
Different places. If it has two different uses.
Absolutely.
This will be,
Or are there gonna be two associated plans?
The community is going to use this for an information portal. The district's going to use it as a work order generation portal.
okay. What other plans did you guys have? I mean, I've got some, like preventative maintenance programs. But that kind
Facilities
of,
and asset.
yeah, that
management.
ties into that.
Where did we put the utility rate deal?
That should be.
These are master plans.
Okay, just master plans, okay.
These are just master plans, and those specifics will go
Did we
underneath.
get it all?
That was the, what Bob was referring to is the assessment, the rate and assessment
Updating the methodology.
methodology review plan.
Okay.
That's financial.
Okay, do we want that as, these are
But that's
master
gonna go under
plans?
budgeting.
It comes under the,
Yeah, under
Asset
financial, under
management.
budgeting, that's gonna be like second.
So that's,
So second tier, so
that's,
that'll come back
that's
with
rate
that
and
goal.
assessment methodology.
So that's gonna be a
Review plan.
specific goal that's gonna tie back into a master plan, that's gonna tie into this, it's gonna keep going up. So do we have any other master plans that this would build into? We don't have anything for Sense of Pride,
I think,
a master.
do we
plan.
have the comprehensive GIS plan?
Yep, we just talked about that.
Sorry, I missed it.
Is there any other master plans that you guys can think of for a Sense of Pride? I know we kind
That
of
should be
talked.
the communication,
But-
one of the, the public outreach, educational.
Public
slash-
events.
But that's what you
Yeah,
guys.
but-
we merge quality of life and sense of pride?
That goes back to our core focus areas.
Yeah, we have that as a separate success standard.
I don't know, it doesn't have to have
It
something.
doesn't have to have a master plan,
No.
but
No.
we're tying everything back.
There will have to be some sort of goals though to,
That's the core of how we're doing everything else.
The countables that were really goes in there, because if it's sense of pride among staff, residents, visitor, established a community of choice, you're only gonna know that if you hold everything else accountable. That's kind of like literally the last piece of everything.
Okay. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that ties into everything, but I think when you get specifically to that category, you're gonna have things like the event that the idea
Well-
you had for a community event, to.
Sense of pride is having, if you look at it, it's among staff, residents, visitors, specifically for staff, it's having a culture, having a culture plan.
And I think when
Maybe
you
even
get there,
succession could go in there
when
too.
you get there, you're gonna be setting goals for like, how can you measure a sense of pride? Like, do you do community surveys? I mean,
So
what are you
do we-
doing to?
Do we want to move the staffing HR succession to Sense of Pride instead of financial?
I don't think so, because I think that is financial.
I think
Really.
public
I
relations.
don't think you
is
need
what
anything
we're-
there. You don't have to have.
It doesn't have to be a
something there.
master
So
plan,
then
but we'll
okay.
still have goals under it.
Yeah, we can still do that. So now what we can do is write these on those papers and then set specific goals based on that you
So
want.
those
from-
are our categories then. That's
Yes,
A, B, and C.
yes.
Okay.
And then your specific goals would fall under one of these categories, under
So-
each group.
So then is that the limit of categories? I mean, like for quality of life, is that the only category under quality of life is Parks and Rec? Is there any other category we're gonna put under quality of life?
You might be able to landscaping, but
Well, this is where, like, we've said, some of these might fall in multiple categories. I mean, I think quality of life can tie into a number of these. I don't know if I'd be
Well, it
so,
all interrelates, for sure.
Yeah.
It all interrelates. I'm just asking, are these the categories? I mean, are there any other categories for any of
Starting
these?
point.
That, I mean, you did this based off your master plan, so good. I'm just asking, are there any other categories?
okay, then
When you were talking about like,
Have you guys ever surveyed
Yes.
the community? And
it was
you
very
don't want to do
It
it again?
depends on the topic.
poorly
And it's hard.
responded to.
And then I think also the execution of it, it was,
The park survey,
Yeah.
it was a disaster.
It was only about parks.
Do what?
Yes.
no.
Parks
survey
was-
was
Parks
only
was-
about
surveys
Parks
before,
was
but
the
it's been a
biggest
while.
survey that I
Yeah.
think we've done.
There were other surveys about what would you like to see, there were communication surveys, how do you like to be like, how do you appoint, we had that, like, what do you want to hear, how do you want to hear from us? So there were participation, surveys, there were at least 3 or 4 that I do recall. Parks and Recs was the one that it had probably the most responses from residents.
When you send out when somebody signs up for water and sewer, you get an email address?
Yes.
Yes,
If they
but you're
provide
not,
it, they're not required to provide it, but
Right.
they do.
Okay,
and that's what I was trying to say, we do have the information, but we're not allowed to use it, and I do challenge that because, and I guess this will be a Tony question, because if I'm not mistaken, you can use it, but you must put an opt-out, unsubscribe button. So you can do it at one time for everyone, but I guess Tony would be the one to say it, one time for everyone, this goes out.
Because when they sign
And
up for it, they only expected it to be for utility
For
related,
utilities
not
only,
carte
yeah.
blanche.
okay. One of the things that in the political realm, they are doing now, they used to do surveys, where you sit on the phone with a person for 2 or 3 minutes and whatever. But now it's, you get something, a text maybe, or an email, and it only has like 3 questions. And you just answer,
Well, like a survey monkey.
yes, yes. It's like a snapshot survey.
And our problem is when we've done that type of deal, the response has been horrible. We don't get a big response. That's the biggest
Due to the
problem.
quality of the question, or just the
I
ambivalence?
think it's the problem of Gateway's been since day one, just the apathy. They don't care.
But it is really different, because I don't know if you guys recall, I'm going to go back 6 years from today's date.
Okay, let's,
That we did more, we were so ahead.
Well, I asked,
We haven't built the relationship with the residents. We didn't. So I would say, I'll kind of bring it to when Bill and Bob, Bill's campaign, that we were there. They want to have a voice, trust me. They were very.
Yeah, there was a lot of people that.
So once they actually see, so I think that engagement, even though it was for a specific, not for gateway services, that was successful. Because the whole circle was completed. There was listening, there was communication, and there was a sense of, I got what I want, or I didn't get what I want. So the whole circle went through, so that worked. So I think once we build this with residents, then we'll be able to do surveys and have response and have that type of engagement. But I think we're lacking that first phase meet grace, which I think then we'll partner with what they then
I asked the
said
question,
regarding events, like making events, having that. So that's important too.
I asked the question because it's a quality measuring tool. A survey is a quality measuring tool if it's done right and all that sort of stuff. I don't know how you're exactly going to measure a lot of these other things. But sense of pride and quality of life are 2 things that, how do you measure them? Financial viability, your budget is either balanced or it's not.
Well, I think so surveys for me, I really struggle with. I've been doing it for a long time. I struggle with them because you have low response rate. And I think in this community, you have 2 things. You have low response rate and you have a lot of selection bias, which means the people that are completing the surveys tend to all be focused on kind of an area. Like Parks and Rec, it's a great example of selection bias. The people that took the time to fill those out were the people most of them were against the park because they were retired and didn't feel the need for that. What we didn't see was the rest of the population that who would support and would use it just because they didn't take the time. So I think one of the things that we see from a satisfaction perspective is the fact we only have 10 people in here every 2 weeks. And
They must be happy.
the amount of, either they don't give,
They're not happy,
care.
they're not here. Yeah, they may not happy, but they're not here.
Or it's not to the point of where it's
It hasn't
impacting
got
their
to the
quality of
level
life.
of coming here.
Like cutting trees.
So, and I'm not saying we don't capture that, but we capture in different ways. We have the President's Council, we have different mechanisms of doing that. I think unless we can, get a survey that's statistically significant, that removes selection bias, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be really hard.
okay, so let's hold up. Let's ask Chelsea, how do we best help you now at this point?
Your papers,
All right, so let's try to do this.
setting smart.
Here's something I urge you to do, is look at back at your SWOT analysis, your SWOT analysis when we do this, because you listed specific things that we want to cover in this. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask us to change up groups a little bit, because I have 2 employees that I want to search that up. So can I ask,
I'll go wherever you want me.
okay, why don't you work with these 2, and you go over and work with those 2, and then let's have Ed and Chelsea work together.
Doug,
Excuse me.
Doug.
Doug and Chelsea work together, and we'll split these up. What you're gonna do is you're gonna write out the goals and try to make them measurable, try to use the criteria if you can, make sure you get it on here. When you're finished, pass your sheet, so that we do all 6 sheets. That's your mission.
We can spread out too.
So I'll just, spread out.
Okay.
Here's number 2 when you're done. Another one.
So this is our Parks and Rec.
It's under the master.
It's under the master plan.
Yes,
So
we're gonna break down the measurement goals, so one CP, specifically what an entity needs to go get. And then like a time frame, that's That's how we can measure the successful failure or, that would be.
Actually,
It's gotta be smart.
I guess I'm not, I don't understand.
He was just trying to
I write
help.
cursive,
I
that's
do
why.
too, that's
So,
my problem.
Okay, I write cursive, that's why I don't write it, I write cursive.
Well, you won't be able to read it.
Are you guys okay? Yeah, I know, but I mean, you know what to do. Oh, okay. Just do your best to give Chelsea your idea of what the goals need to be.
Right, what we can do, under these
No, I get on with
categories,
Doug.
Oh, you do
separate
it,
goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got some stuff, right?
Make
we
a
need
list of
more-
what
we
you
need
think
more
goals
groups.
need to be under these categories.
So we want these goals.
Where we got that?
These categories.
You're right, I can't write.
Restate the goal.
Okay, what are we doing?
What are we trying to do?
Under each
Put
of
items
these,
under landscape?
Three.
Items under-
We're trying
We're
to drive
supposed to
community
write down
improvement and maintenance
what
via
goals we
landscaping,
think
irrigation, water,
should be
sewer, master
under
plans.
each of those. Each of those three categories.
So what we need to,
So that's-
Well, what would we do in order to achieve that?
it's a very conceptual way to ask that.
Is it good enough?
So are we looking to get new landscape?
Okay, so, okay, I see what she said, she just copied these three.
Yeah.
Now, what
No,
we
one of
want
those
to
is
do
two.
is
We can say,
Right.
We were looking at refreshing. our
So
landscape.
Facilities, asset management, and GIS
Refresh entrance monuments.
have,
I'm lost with what we're trying to do.
we're trying to set a goal
wrap it up.
So
under the
it's
first
under
one, that's financial viability, right?
Give me an
But
example.
yours is timeframe, then you can
What
do
you're
it.
looking
Could
Could be a year, I mean, that's.
Chelsea,
Lauren?
give me
Lauren.
another, what are you talking
Okay,
about?
then the second one is.
If we start like,
These are
aggregation.
under financial viability, the first one's facilities, asset management, and
Yeah,
GIS.
give me an idea, what are you looking for?
Like,
So,
give us an example of how
Yeah,
it should
what do
be
you look-
worded.
what do you-
okay, so these have to be SMART goals, so it's something that we have to achieve that I'll be able to assign to somebody.
We're
So
adding
for
irrigation, we don't
facilities,
have
asset
that.
management, full implementation of cartograph, put a date. That's an example. From the, what we put, cartograph is our,
I mean, like our GIS.
it's our.
Mapping.
Mapping.
I think that's
Okay,
what just
mapping.
started, so I think it needs to be done the next week.
We talked about,
Sure.
like the cartograph type, so maybe under the full implementation of cartograph, the inventory. Like full inventory accountability by a time and date certain.
What's the next topic?
Okay,
Oh,
okay,
sorry.
so that's what,
What's the next
Okay,
topic?
so facilities,
Yeah. phase
Well,
one.
That's
I
where-
know,
okay, this is
those
what she
things
just
that
asked.
you originally put her,
Yeah.
that's where the views are.
So this is cartograph.
So migration, so part of.
The inventory stuff,
You know,
something else over there.
card, C-A-R-D.
That's one.
Cartograph,
RCT.
Like create. Inventory.
Yes.
So maybe on board, migration or transition.
How long is that gonna take, a year?
Interlocal.
I would say,
Transition
you
to golf park.
gotta finish now.
Unless we want to,
I don't know how they're going
Let's
to
do
do it.
them
right now.
Well, first thing that happens is.
What's the last one?
Lighting, or sorry, lighting.
So
Well, that's
so
the
right now,
FPL.
we don't even have all the.
It's incorporate the FPL conversion.
And we
Yeah, that's
have,
on, out of the.
to my knowledge,
We've got layers.
all of, yeah,
We have layers.
we have almost none.
So we're going through an
of
F, we're
public
considering an
works
FPL
stuff,
conversion.
which would include parks and stormwater.
We're doing it.
You're gonna have.
All
I mean,
the-
it's a massive, it really is a
Gotta have
massive.
all the stuff.
Okay,
Yeah.
what's the first thing that has to go into the contract?
Utilities has to be
Okay,
completed.
can you,
So complete utilities by the end of
Yeah, maybe
this
that's,
year.
yeah,
you
maybe
don't
that's.
pull
what
it
we're
down
doing
to
down here, so even though-
FPL.
It's part of common.
Yeah,
But it's an, I'm
By
fine.
the
with
end
that.
of fiscal
I think it's
2024. Whatever that year is in the
On
board.
the other side.
And also in Wyoming, we're gonna do this for health, because we're two different projects.
Then for
One
the
is gateway,
initiation,
one's
2024 FPL conversion, and
Because
then
we've-
2020 conversion for the other things, but I will call it.
We've
a
gotten a
second.
large chunk of utilities in there.
Okay,
So
what's the
there's,
second thing you gotta put in this chapter?
so
After
so
utilities.
then it would probably be stormwater, would be the
Phase
most
one.
important thing.
Stormwater.
Are we gonna all do
Stormwater.
this?
Stormwater
Second
management.
district,
Right now, we're on doing. And I wonder whether.
They can, a year later.
Well, I know we can.
We have the contact, I have, like,
So,
You're doing it in your,
I already did it 5 years ago.
so all your polls and other, so you're already in this.
So this is kind of a living, breathing thing as well, like information we had doesn't necessarily.
We can have half, very
It's,
small.
it's saving money
One of
and
the
doing
things
good
that also we're
reason.
working on is
We're gonna have
we-
it.
Yes,
I think $320.
yeah, and we're gonna be able to dial it in, I mean,
All my language, all my.
No, I know it's not that.
You have any polls?
Let's go to the next one, staffing.
26 polls, how much money?
I think people don't have to be just update their current, what do you call it?
we're still ready.
because there's
Oh,
gonna be,
okay.
different- I know we
We've
have
got more
certain-
sheets and you're done.
Employee manual,
I think,
employee handbook.
which relates.
The 1634 comes down.
To me, that's annual. That's
I
annual.
would say, I think Laura has been,
That's where
Laura's been here.
I have
It
originals,
seems like
but I
it's
have
changed things already.
That would be
Generally, it's just one that we have in.
Update, update employee manual.
You're gonna be 16,000, 30%. That's it.
By next year.
No upfront, no nothing.
Well, I wouldn't do it for my next year, I just went annually.
Well, we don't have very few polls, we
Yeah.
never was.
But so right
It's
now,
ongoing.
I did this
We could probably determine,
2015 actually.
we don't have any activities.
That's when I did it originally.
We may
Right
not
now, what
be
I'm doing is I'm including more polls.
If we had it in person, or we had a first staff meeting, we can
This,
partner with.
there's
Or just
a.
be
March
more,
Yeah.
you know,
So then
and
what's the
assess
cost?
Other seniors in other communities.
I don't think we're in full
Oh, okay,
staffing.
No, we're not
Yeah,
at full staff.
assess staffing needs.
Assess staff.
Years ago, yeah, they used to have softball.
And as we,
And again, that's
And they
annual.
just didn't have enough
yeah,
participants.
as we get more into doing stuff,
we don't do that.
more in.
Because we're talking about.
So now you'd much rather-
A subcontracted deal for
Unused.
temps.
Right.
Then you create partnerships.
You might put sub underneath that, analyze subcontracting versus
This is
uh,
what the product
employee
line is.
retention, or employee.
The goal for this is
New
to actually establish.
Some of that stuff is like landscape. We can do that ourselves.
Which is also lean.
But we have to buy the equipment.
Right.
All
Leans
that
will fall in
stuff.
there.
You have to have a
It takes a
mechanic.
lot.
I mean, it just
That's,
doesn't
so
quit.
that's what I'm
It's
saying.
programs and programs and services.
I think those are the two big.
Being a
And leans
We've
will
been
fall.
doing it for a long time. It's the last one.
We're gonna have the short
Okay.
list.
Budgeting.
Grants,
Well,
CIP.
Phase one
Uh,
is.
I'm sure it is.
Well, one on that is obviously performing the rate, rate study.
We're just ahead of the
every
there
2 years.
a lot.
Yeah, rate study and assessment.
And then phase two,
However, often.
we need phase two.
Update rates.
Are you raising, you want to have.
So when they
one
do,
phase
so
two.
in the past, and I haven't been involved in it.
And then approve it.
They do this rate
No, no,
study.
no.
Study updated.
Yeah, that's utility. I'd just say buy it every 2 years.
Was it done this year?
Yeah, and here's what I.
Not many words.
Here's what here's phase one, is what
So
we
by
approve.
October
The
first.
rest of this could be two, could be three, could be
Typically,
eliminated,
what
whatever.
we do is we read at the time.
And then next maybe it's.
So probably my,
Every last business.
How you gonna do it, right? You have to assign
for
a,
next year's.
basically a project manager to get one of these accomplished. Then you have to have a goal team leader to purge all of the project managers.
Oh, I think it's that.
Right, so, you know, there's some staff, there's some staff manpower that goes behind every last one of these. Whether or not you have them, here's your answer. So,
Put
So
a
that's,
new one.
so that's,
New,
so to me, that's
develop
an
new,
issue.
irrigation control.
Then that's why we have John.
Is somebody else done it?
Yeah.
No, that's for you.
Okay,
Somebody else has done it, now you gotta add to it.
Yeah, we're doing that right now, Gateway.
So that
Public
was
year.
relations and marketing,
Okay.
so no
Maybe.
quarterly events. You know, like, we already have them.
We're gonna do it.
By
Carol said that the soccer. That was a nice experience. interface.
Yeah.
We gotta get it done.
A year from now?
So it's one
That
day
might be an
go-
opportunity for.
Let's
Set up
just
a
go
table to
12,
talk,
let's go
your
12,
supervisor,
31,
each your
20.
supervisor, and somebody,
The end of 20.
one of us would take every 5 weeks or so.
They'll put together any go out for bid.
There
Oh,
were,
soccer
there's been
events
parts of
cost
it that have been worked on.
Things that need to be done.
I don't.
You see, the trouble I got is that
And it could be
we
soccer,
can
events,
take
could be flag
our
football, could
system
be
all ties
whatever,
together now.
whatever.
We divided the community into
I also
four
think
distinct
that
areas. We have 4 distinct controllers and 4 distinct control systems that figure out we're going underneath all the roads, the whole deal. We're a 10-day choice. We got to deal with this from Daniels all the way to 82. How many zones is that going to be? 1, 2, 3, I don't know. Can you split off? Which is what somebody said here, that's gotta come in there.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a
They can split
command
or
center.
just go down first place. So, somebody's
I don't know if we
got,
have.
this isn't one of those tools you get,
We
this
just
is
want to
one
know
of
the
the
time, we
plan.
don't want to know how the clock runs.
I
This
would
is-
say have this is really
Not
just a
really.
plan done by 12.
Because I've never seen, I mean, I get it, we know what I planned, but I don't know what the next
I
one
think there is a, maybe the.
I know what my community.
Yeah, no, I have.
I don't know what the
What
plan
else?
is.
I have
So I know,
spots.
so I had a couple services built
This doesn't have to be there.
specifically
It
was-
for.
We've not seen any.
You gotta follow.
of what
Alright,
the
So that's something we ought to be doing.
All we know is that somebody is putting it out.
Thank you.
Also,
To be designed.
I know we are
so
now
the
doing
contractors
this
can bid on it.
Okay.
Irrigation, which you just
New
talked
member
about
irrigation.
up here. Okay.
We are now participating in our management
Inventory, okay.
for new
Water,
residents
sewer,
I don't know, somebody else all the time.
needs.
6 months.
States.
Historically, we've done KW, never mentioned us.
The inventory
Now,
list.
Laura,
I think that's very, very,
I think
very.
it's part of,
Yeah.
people know
Okay, my
what we do.
FPL conversion in 18 months.
Yeah, and that's in process.
That's impressive.
Yeah, we know what we have.
The only thing that we need to do on that is
So the GIS right now for the residents.
Oh, okay.
And I integrate with the communication plan.
And
educate.
they've been working
We have
on
to
it.
educate of the availability.
Well, we've seen,
Because they don't even
we've seen
know.
the plans.
So we're trying to tell them what's there at
And
their
this is
disposal.
all the stuff, that's why I brought up the issue about fairly late.
And I don't know if you had any.
We need to reassess this
Yeah.
action.
It's a great.
I mean,
it's not.
are there any
it's-
residents?
I think,
I already, I have.
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have- I have-
Yeah.
It's relatively new
But
tool within the past 10 years.
Yes.
Our GIS over
they
the past
oppose
10 years
what
is
we
something
want
that
to
is
do, now we
relatively
gotta
new
go
to
make
us.
sure they're there.
Yeah.
It is.
But it is a wonderful tool.
Because we also did
Figure out how to, you can use Google Maps,
and make
you
sure
can
that
figure
the
out
maps, their plan
GIS.
is
Well,
more
what-
cost
what-
effective
what
than
I
ours.
have-
We've already done that.
It's not intuitive to my population, because we're all.
We've already signed a contract with them.
And then the fact that you gotta go
For
through layers.
FPL,
Yeah, yeah,
without
do
them
what
giving
layers.
us the.
Yeah.
I understand what the
That's
limits
the
are.
challenge.
Yeah.
No,
I remember this.
Now, we
I
can
got
do this
about
in video.
events and.
That kind of tour here. Oh, okay. All right, all right.
Don't see that.
All right.
That was a big discussion, how that happened.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, but I remember.
Every time you take vacation, something happens.
We need a succession plan.
Stormwater.
So you don't have to do the GIS because that was in there. Now what we need to start doing is
That's
planning
definitely over here. We don't have-
aeration. Aeration's a big one. Develop
So adding.
aeration plan,
And future erosion control with whatever.
well, okay, let's go to, let's first, let's do develop final
Schools.
bank.
So they're different schools. They're not all under Lee County.
We'll have that.
Also,
we got it down to 5 years.
Message boards at the entrance to the community.
To do the work. We got some plan working on that one.
So we want to put something on here of message boards. I don't know what
And I
that
put it,
means.
say,
Electronic.
Maybe,
or
I would just say bring back the meeting banners.
in addition.
Well, but we didn't have one.
I mean,
We
there's no
definitely
reason why we
need
can't
this.
have that done. We
That's
know
why I
what
said
the
mention you
is
guys.
on.
you
Now,
know
it won't be done, but we know what the
So
correct
we need
is.
to
And
find out.
then let's go develop our years.
I want to let everybody know that we're holding up.
This
You're welcome to come with all the respect.
Well, all the
Parks and Rec,
That's a
Parks
very
program,
special
talking
Who
about.
wrote all that?
Some of these.
Oh, I might have been.
I like these double.
Couldn't put Chelsea in front of
you.
Only written a book.
Consolidation plan for all Gateway ponds.
Yeah, well, would that be?
I can't read it.
Yeah,
Somebody
it's
got to read it.
And Swiftlet requirements?
It's purely like, Pelican Reserve, it's them off on their own, and
Budget, yeah.
just getting so many, and we have to determine is, what's the priority? To me, the priority is you start with the main flow line, and then you work back up.
This is all under Parks and Rec.
I'd like to have it done by the end of next year. The plan. Now, then we can start implementing the plan.
The Chili,
2050.
alligator feeding area.
Yeah, we should-
Or it's in the dog park, it's a.
Then that, let's do.
I don't know.
I
No,
mean,
one thing, policy procedures, I really got that.
Well, I think she had 12.
There's no policy procedures.
One,
One,
okay.
up to
No feeding of
No.
Parks and Rec.
There's no policy procedures and
I
rules.
don't think we need to say continue.
Okay, so develop.
Yeah, there is
okay,
some more
right,
of
yeah, I
the,
mean, that's kind of.
Developing the plan,
Uh,
you know, there's a sub.
the pool has some,
What
but
else?
this is.
Right.
And mapping, we already
The
hit
Parks and Rec
together,
is already working on
having the
it,
entire
but
storm.
there's
Oh,
one
oh,
for 8 months, so.
what's the title of the storm?
Hold them to-
stormwater and ponds.
To finish, so.
Develop
Obviously by,
a,
obviously by November.
stormwater management
You're gonna have a
system
plan by
cleaning
phase
and
one,
maintenance
by
program.
November, you wanna have.
for like doing, cleaning out all the inlets and piping. I don't know that we have
So,
an
I
actual
know,
plan.
I know that something's been started in that
We
way.
talked before,
I don't know if it's
communication, those communications.
Let's do this now.
Let's just do an outline.
Because I was going about, you guys.
Outline.
Okay,
How it
Don't
outline,
develop the whole
Common
thing.
hours.
Outline how,
outline
We put a sign that
stormwater
says,
cleaning.
This is
stormwater
pond
management
32,
Cleaning.
it's gonna be on a black pole, it's gonna have a
Maintenance
black
plan,
tab, it's
cleaning and
gonna be a green
maintenance
sign.
plan.
I did talk, so,
We-
I don't know what
we-
it's
we're
called,
telling
that's
the state
something
that
that I
we're
have to
doing
do.
that.
So it's dates on the.
Yes.
Visual communication.
We're signing a document that says we
Right.
do 10% every year. We don't.
They all of them, are saying, they all have gateway standardized.
Yeah.
Started, we just started
So
to.
this year.
Every time I go there, I
We
go
need to get in with
it's
that
like,
backtrack.
End of year.
I don't know where that falls in this, and they got falls.
Look at five. I mean, it could be
The
in a
plan.
policy, but I think it's.
Outline.
The
Outline.
outline.
Poor
by,
communication,
So this should be part of.
it's kind of falling.
Yeah.
I know.
So
Because when people look at it,
We-
they're like,
June
"Hey,
24,
June 24th.
that
Have a
way,
little,
it can be
line.
put into the, because you're gonna have budgeting.
It's standardized
Comfortable stuff that has to go along with it, or.
You know, this is going
To
back to
me,
the
it's
one,
such
Anything else?
stop sign
That happens
pole
on
and
another
another.
basis. I mean, actually, I have to, but, you know,
And
routine
kind of
should
this
be
will go for all of them, you know what I mean?
this annually.
The
so
linear
just
part,
satisfied
benches, like,
At the end of the year.
And then
it's
interest.
determined where
And
you're
then
at.
interest.
Parks and
Yeah,
Rec's gonna be
but
fishing here,
I think-
common fishing areas.
we do all of the
This
ones
needs to
that
be a
we
structured
do,
thing that you report
mainly to review
forward.
on that.
I don't think it's a monthly.
Okay, do we have signs that say this? Fishing
No,
areas?
yes, but.
All
Can
of
you
the,
provide that?
all of the, you
Installation
know, all of the
plan.
ponds have signs fishing for residents.
In other words, we
So
got
every pond is a
requirements
fishing
here.
area, it's not like yours,
Never
but
got
they have
structure
the
around
designated
it.
stuff.
Yeah, but we have,
Did
well,
annual stats
anybody
report
can
out
fish
to
behind
the
their
board.
own.
We need a plan.
But I can-
You have your dates in your thing, but I think.
And we have a lot of,
telling you,
we have not a
if
lot
you
of
put it in the
non-residential
rules in the pond, we're gonna have
non-commercial, like neighborhood park, but
We can do it on
So that's where we have, that's where
But
we
what we
have fishing areas for other,
put it
for somebody who's in a high.
We've
So
never
for
had.
us, there,
We need to
because
do
it.
there's no parking.
I mean,
So
How do you
this-
know
saying
this?
this is annually, I
So
don't think.
the
Oh,
only,
go.
the only
Go
way.
into our
if you have
meetings,
a
our
neighborhood
neighborhood,
park,
our
Solves the
neighborhood
problem.
It's
ninety percent of the people don't
Pond.
live within
for the common.
Well, here's what they are.
Okay, do you have benches in this area?
There is not,
So the
not
goal-
efficient,
the goal
out of
will
the
be
bench.
to
Do
provide-
we have benches?
They can't go out there, they can't go out there.
They don't treat quarterly
So
sessions,
that's kind of the
staffing
department.
analysis,
Said that's
and the
what they
whole
want.
then
And that
out.
falls into the quality of life.
Like my
This is
pond,
definitely part of
the
that.
waters.
To designate
That's the,
zones
Love.
that's
for
the-
fishing
I can, I
and
could
provide
catch a fish.
Okay, so
benches.
give me that
and-
again.
Let's see.
And we remove the littorals
Develop
from
littoral insulation.
the area where you're in the fishing, so your lines don't get lost. So
Yeah, here there's no-
it promotes that.
So here there's none.
Because you don't have littorals,
None of this one.
Installation plan
and then
on.
trees for shade. I mean, we do the whole suite.
Yeah,
of
this
those.
one's
Plan on applicable.
You know, the orders are not
Permitted to have
That'd be according to the.
to be considered.
according to the, well, I think it's the South Florida Board of
Trying to get you guys.
Management. So the-
Listen, the thing is,
Maybe
this one here, we
the-
just.
maybe
You know, my favorite one was Sunday, are very young. This
June
one
next
is
year,
that,
yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and have
I don't see any reason why we wouldn't.
You got another one?
I do.
Have one?
Are you gonna send it to?
No fabric.
Next,
That's the-
That's
What?
not-
We did that one.
This one here is, I'm gonna take a lot.
Okay.
And then-
When we put the benches together,
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
Talk to you people.
I still, they just keep on, I like.
not out of town, it's
County
seven.
survey. I think if we have.
Every 2 years to do a plan.
I'm sorry,
You need survey monkeys.
public relations, marketing. You.
What's their topic here?
That's a bright one.
Public information.
The survey controls will be for staff, will be for
They
residents.
will not come to meetings.
and-
They never have. They
That's
never
how you
have.
measure it.
But you can attempt to go to them by.
30, you know, create-
It's all in the way you create the question.
Well, and I think a lot of people assume that if people
Can't
aren't
be too broad, it's
interested,
gotta be very
that
specific.
they're
And
against
you
something.
have to educate them before you.
That's not
put it
necessarily
down.
the case.
It's
Because then
more
what happens is they don't
probably
do
the
the job
opposite.
communicating,
It's the opposite.
It's
educating
the
them.
opposite.
Then what
That's
happens
fine.
is they
They-
go.
and they don't respond.
Right.
Educating them what.
That's-
Leave me alone.
What
I'm good with this.
And that's how.
Leave me alone. I got more
That's
important
what
things in my life.
I'm.
So just because they don't
Yep.
That's
respond
the
doesn't mean that they're
person
opposed.
Dates.
When you go and do it, then they come out of the window, what the hell did you do that with? That's wasting
Like,
money.
it's 30 days.
What do you-
I didn't do 30 days for this one, survey 30 days.
What's that?
Staff.
Hit the nail
The
on the
first
head.
one is staff retention, like, what are we doing, what we do with that area?
That's the beauty. Well, it's a-
So,
That building is-
it's a different
And
price for
most
staff.
people in Pelican, it's not gonna affect them. They hope he
Is
doesn't.
it on the teacher one that's
I mean, they will admit, or they have their own, or whatever.
I think they don't, but it's in there, but if we took
But
it,
I'm just saying, that doesn't mean that they're against it.
if we had.
That means
They don't have-
they don't care.
We had the tax.
Building new building.
Groups of hiding in the closet.
Have you cut down
You
that?
guys are done with this, like, why are you putting it on the slides? Come on, stick to it. Only another hour.
They were screaming about the $800.
Your job is like herding cats, I respect it.
Is this a hard one?
Keep these people.
They won't do it. You've got a
I
total.
mean, how much can you overthink the survey? We have, and we only need 30 days, in the 7 days, staff will have. Laura, conversation, Laura will have.
Anything else I can add to? So that's it.
Well,
I look at this, I know it's not-
So, you know, what would.
That's, and that's.
Two questions that the residents,
You
Could
know,
you
We have-
have blank survey sheets?
Yeah.
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 What would you like to see?
Yeah, exactly.
We have our soccer games and events, have a table, which we've already said. Another one. But ask the residents, what do they want us to discuss or see?
People don't understand.
What's on your mind?
You're
Tell me.
gonna pay $100, $200
I'm
a
gonna
month.
take you to
in
get a
fees.
jacuzzi or something.
And we gave away
They
our,
don't realize that. They don't realize.
I
That's
support
what
it.
Gateway Greens.
because it's just soccer.
We did.
But they don't realize.
Well, yeah, anyway, then it created a litter. But yeah, we want water.
So the actual
But I mean,
fee, just
Somebody
like
come
I had a
back,
banner, yeah, I had a banner.
had a banner, and when people were going in, we'd give them water and ask for
And
more.
Just for my
flyers. Just enough information.
I pay 1,100
I just want to make sure they're justified.
What it comes to.
Yeah,
Just-
so if I did that, I
And
would,
my code's not
they would
just-
have my carcass hanging on a tree.
And then on top of that,
What's going on?
the, that's the,
You know, so that the residents.
the town center.
That's an addition.
That's 1,200 every quarter.
So I'm just
Only
thinking about
handle
that's
the
an
residents.
external
I
component.
just want to get to the point.
No way.
People outside big.
Good, but the
Good
people
point.
that are there,
So we can have.
Drive
you know,
so we
you've
can tie
got,
it right.
you've got, you've got that.
I mean, person,
I don't
food
think.
early,
Oh.
food
Ball, I never, I never was that way, you know, I don't take advantage of anyone, but it's there.
And you pay.
And it gives you pride in your
Yeah,
community,
do the radio program.
you know, if you want to use it, you bet.
Or
Or
law.
wanted to play it, or-
Yeah.
Well, let's go back.
Okay.
The only thing.
I just like that, I just, that pop up going like.
If there was a way.
I think we're done with this one.
And all the podcasts.
Choose one.
That's what, yeah.
So I've got.
What are the
Water
new-
my beauty, but I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ohio.
So
I found him
So I
to
know
I
some
can't
of
get
these,
it.
Yeah.
like,
not always
like
accurate.
whenever we do some
Well,
of the utilities related.
He's,
Leslie
he
Black.
straddled through informative energy.
To the extent you can last.
Which is the same thing Ed Ryan used to say.
But you don't know what
He was factual, but he was also polarizing.
And
Huh?
when we had the irrigation shut
Thinking
down a
about
while back,
the pension.
we
We
had
had a,
someone call
we're
and
looking at
complain
water in college.
that they never got notified, but they had opted out. of
Well, the challenge is,
Yeah, like,
you
what
put something
part of
just
your
plain
sleep are you?
informative lodge.
You got what you asked for, you didn't want anything, you didn't get it.
That's,
So-
that's the problem.
Other
That's
So
what I
sometimes you have
was-
to be
relying on
titillating or
HOA.
whatever in order to get people.
I remember.
Well, he was always trying to arouse the masses for the inappropriate
So
benefits.
we've done that one.
We haven't done this one yet.
If the board said, everybody tell him $20, he'd write a blog saying, I wanted 2 tabs, it made me take it 20.
That's fast. Oh, November the 24th. I said November 24th, I was gonna say,
Are
that's.
you guys getting tired on me? Come on, stick with it, you got this.
That started at 8:30.
Just something you want. Yeah,
Yep, good one.
At least it's all.
He's giving us money.
Let me see.
gotta keep you moving here.
And then, and I know that a lot of that
See, no,
probably being.
I don't want to
Listen,
listen,
listen, I look at
Where do we
this,
put our
and I
brain
look
refresh?
to you,
Here's
Maybe
where.
that's a permit.
you tell
They
me.
literally,
Where's
had
the-
that.
where's the sense of pride worksheet?
Yeah.
You guys got it?
It was-
That was smart.
Who's got it? Sense of pride?
Doesn't that one?
No, we just.
No,
we're
just-
done.
You need a water?
No, it fell over.
Oh, thank you.
Tired people. And more.
Where do we put it in the
Have
board?
a PR.
Factual,
But the
yeah.
fact is-
Oh, are you asking for?
You're a community. Oh, yeah.
Today's 2 meetings.
You think of the schools, you think of the schools, you have, that's not kids, so it's.
I would have a nice picture.
The issue is how.
You don't need it, because you're pretty good after here.
What pisses people off.
Are you gonna start that one already?
Yes. Without nothing to add, right?
Have you done most of these?
And of course,
And that makes them mad.
cannot.
Yes, to this one.
No, we can say that, there's nothing we can do it. That's the
Oh,
problem.
you can't even say it.
That's bad.
Hang in here, you guys are doing great.
I am.
I can tell them like I feel, that they don't like it, don't vote for me, but they don't vote for me anyway.
Stormwater ponds.
I do not like somebody telling me that I have
So,
to provide an amenity. for
Creativity
somebody
and environmental
who's not
challenges
sharing in the cost.
with
That's not-
stormwater ponds.
That's that woke bullshit. I don't-
But if you're using public
Creativity and
funds,
environmental challenges.
There's
Well, what we're doing there is
There's the
providing
issue.
aeration.
And that's what we gotta do, is we gotta figure out a way to do
Stormwater ponds.
That's the only way we do it.
Or-
We develop a
Which-
rate schedule.
which we gotta-
We develop a rate schedule.
Oh,
What,
signage.
what we want to, yeah, put signage.
Signage.
And also,
It was great at the time.
Use building codes.
But what we can do is we'll have a rate schedule, and if they wanna use it, then that's all. They gotta pay,
Non-residents.
non-resident fees. Yep.
Provide littorals.
That way, at least you've got to cover. At soccer field, our typical resident pays $80 a year without access
This one's stir up
for the
stuff.
soccer field.
Yeah.
$80.
You put it on paper, we'll see.
Yeah.
We should put that as like anytime, because things are just going well and.
My deal is they
We
should.
have a short agenda.
Let's pick up.
Hey, let's talk about the totals.
They pay the soccer
We're gonna stay
field.
in
The CDC.
Provide
That revenue
littorals
doesn't
and
get,
all.
it's our
the
pocket.
soccer club has to run his basement.
Yeah, I'm serious. Once you do that,
I'm leaving.
over here, the majority of people want to do that. But there's one guy that won't. Don't be worried.
Where's the finance one?
You know, you must really have.
Taking care of other people outside.
That was a good move, for your first week.
I don't buy that.
Past that.
And it's biggest thing I don't buy is.
Well, after this week, we may not have a second week.
That's what I kept telling him. You don't pay for it.
That's true.
Well, so what? Why are you telling me what I have to pay for and you don't? It's like, what? It's
Because of that, you got a lot of time.
Who do I?
It riles you up.
Wildlife constituents.
Let's go.
Everything else on this one? For community improvements?
We're gonna hand this one back in.
Okay, thank you.
We talked enough.
Well, let's see. So you did that. Did you do transparency?
This is more of an interaction
Yeah.
with the community.
Did you do financial
Yeah.
liability?
But it is just like an iteration.
All right. What else have we got over here? You guys done with this one?
Yeah, my brain hurts.
Did you do creativity and environmental challenge?
Stormwater,
Yes.
Environmental?
stormwater.
Yeah, the first one is.
No, I'll tell you.
Yes, we.
Yes.
Yay.
That's all right.
All those four are
Are
ours.
we like almost done here?
I'm excited. We're good.
Okay, let's see what we got here.
Oh,
Did you
okay.
guys do sense of pride?
There's nothing under something.
No, we
Just
didn't.
running that.
All right, so here's what's left. Let's make sure everybody's done them all. Community improvements and maintenance.
Oh, really?
We're done.
Done. Financial liability,
We're done.
What was it?
transparency,
We're done.
quality of life, and environmental.
I know we did environmental, I don't know what quality was. We do quality of
That
life.
would be, it would be
Okay,
something.
they
that
just need to
someone
do
has
that
to
one.
strive
Sense of
to,
pride, that's the
but
other
it
one.
would be
Yeah, we did that.
informational type
Well, there
thing.
wasn't anything on it.
We added to it. People could kind of click on it.
But we added
How many
surveys,
podcasts is-
right, add surveys, polls.
I think what I do is have them, communication with board presidents, expand our, what do you call it? President, expand our those people show up. I mean, we got we just in Gateway. And we get maybe 15, and we're starting to get there. No, why do we have this next one?
Tell me to borrow this.
Is that vacation?
Separate little piece, phase one,
Phase three.
phase three.
Phase three.
Yeah.
So
Um,
I think
You're gonna see a real how the others.
Then you come back and live.
You get a house.
And then I saw the keys.
that's in there, no.
Ready.
By,
Right?
expand it
So we'll
by,
move on to think about
They
it.
didn't move it, they didn't want to show them.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then, also, then, yeah. No, yeah.
That brought worse to my house.
I was trying to explain to my wife, what, you have to do something about these paintings.
Oh my God, the window.
Everybody did sense of pride?
Kind of scoop.
Okay, well, I know you guys are getting really tired on us. We see that, we see that. We're going on, they're really tired. All right, so how about if I just kind of review what you wrote? So, okay, first we have quality of life. And for that, we have parks and rec. It looks like the agreement that we need to develop policy by November 24. Oh, November.
Do 25 on the same,
24.
I said, that's aggressive.
Oh, and then we have phased approach. Level 1, October 2023, approved conceptually. Phase 2, to be determined, and phase 3, question mark. What was that?
It's the park.
Is that,
The master plan.
everybody
The master
understand that?
plan.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. You guys have read all these, right? Fun park, dog park, oh, that sounds fun. And fun park. We have a date on that. Program services, establishing PR. Program services, seniors. So PR about quality of life, or is PR doing on communication?
No, the program, I think that's more on, program manager. Honestly.
Did I read that?
Yeah, it says, establish,
Parks and Rec programs.
yeah, it's really
Sorry.
establishing Parks and Rec program.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
So it's not PR,
That one
it's
was
short.
detailed.
You're welcome.
Well, let me ask you guys this, I mean, you've all seen these, you've all contributed to them, you've all written on them, how can I best help you at this point? Sitting here and reading it, what you just read, I don't know that really is gonna help.
I think, where do we go from here? How do we
Okay.
stay true to our goals? How do we validate them? What's the routine? How frequently should we be looking at these and aligning them to our plan?
Well, or the other one is to take and get those all written up,
Mhm.
and then we go
form,
back
and then
and
give it to us.
prioritize them.
Yeah.
Right,
Of what has the highest, what's number one on the pecking order and on down the line. Because some of those obviously are a hell of a lot more important.
what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna take these back, and I'm gonna write them up in that format,
Right.
and get that to Chelsea, okay? So that she can start to develop it out. After that, then you guys will have to meet to put together how you want it to look and, put the specifics on as far as dates and everything. As far as what to do with it after that, it's like, the plan is specifically written to give you these benchmarks. Responsibility, Chelsea's gonna assign responsibility to whomever it has the large responsibility for that. We know she's accountable for everything, but still, right? Same as you are. The target date. And then we'll be doing progress reports, and we'll be updating that during the meetings. Now, what I would suggest is that, I don't know, at a minimum, and it depends on the item, and this may be, Chelsea, this is your strategy, like, you may wanna pick, we're just gonna work on quality of life, and maybe pick one a month, or pick what's most important. But the important thing is not to wait, 6 months and go, well, let's look at that plan. This should really be guiding us every meeting, every day.
It should be an agenda every time. If there's nothing to revise, it doesn't get revised, just like the agenda
Exactly.
management. That
Right.
should just be another
Yeah,
component of it.
first one is to redo the HR plan, take away her vacation, because she don't have time to do it.
It's already burned on the vacation.
That's the first one, don't need any vacation.
I don't think that's.
No, first of all,
I
she
did
needs to
not see
clear
an
her mind.
expectation.
Says the guy who's going on
Give her
vacation
roll
next week.
Watch what she asked for.
So when you're reviewing, obviously, you'll be looking at, the target dates. And remember that the one thing we have to think about in your target dates is, I hear you talking like about a 20-year plan and a 5-year plan. You don't set goals for 5 years from now. That's the whole plan. We have to have the specific goals to get us to that.
Month and year.
Yeah. So, if it says that there's supposed to be a target date for a report, in November, that'll be on your agenda for November.
I think the key thing that you guys gotta remember though is you set the goal. You say, Chelsea, we want to get an answer on the Pelican lights through the subcommittees and through PPAC and a decision by the end of the year. So then it's our responsibility to coordinate with FPL to get it on those agenda items and to get it done by the end of the year with a decision. So then you as the board can make the next step, make that decision moving forward.
Well, and I think we're also, by doing this, it's reminding us of the kind of the environment that we're trying to build is we set the policies and the expectations, deliver to you, and let's just say goals. Then you will break those goals maybe in the mini goals. You will deliver it to your leaders that are physically responsible for those functional areas, and then they will either take it or pass it down their line. So now there's a chain of responsibility that goes up, and if we can look at our priorities regularly, look at our goals regularly, and I don't mean every meeting. I think if we just did it maybe, focus on an area, it's a quarter or, whatever, then we're staying on track. And we're building the kind of the mindset or the culture of we're gonna define things and we're gonna execute on those. And when we don't, we're gonna revise or hold people accountable or whatever. And I think this is what drives me crazy about Tetra Tech. Is we'll get a work authorization and it'll just stay there with no updates. As much as we keep going back, and they've gotten better with putting a revised date, who's accountable, if something misses, why did it miss? And it's not just to slap someone's hands, to understand, is there something we could do differently or there's lessons learned? So the devil's in the details when it comes to this type of stuff. And I think this is where we've gotten better over the years, definitely from, years ago. But it's where the rubber hits the road for us as far as like being accountable, holding our vendors
Right.
accountable and all that stuff.
How long it takes.
And
Operational excellence is what we
And
should be
that's
driving.
You're gonna have to hold each other accountable on this. I mean, if you're looking at a target date that was, 3 months ago, your plan's not current. You've got to keep this current. That's gotta be revised, so
Well,
that's what I think you're gonna have to keep an eye on.
I think it should be on the agenda every month because residents do look at it, they're not here. But if they see something that, oh, target date is this, well, I don't wanna wait that long. Because it is a priority to them, they will come to us and then we'll know. So it gives them a better understanding and maybe also understanding, I'm not gonna go there and talk about this because it's on their plan, I'll just wait for that day to hold them accountable for it. 'Cause
Well, it's almost like our agenda management.
Yeah,
Like,
that's-
it becomes
that reminds me a lot of
monthly,
it,
it's in
that's
the,
what
in the,
it is,
in the board book, but
I
we may
think
not have to go into.
It'll be tied in with our admin report. I will say that one thing that I have learned over the last year is I have these goals and these plans and these ideas, but truthfully, the day-to-day operations takes a lot
That's exactly.
out of everybody, and it's,
You got work to do.
you had full intentions of reviewing this report and getting whomever, an answer, but we had a main break, or the contractor hit something, or something just came up and it takes time, and with staffing challenges has been our biggest issue, but we're juggling a lot. My biggest concern with the papers that I saw is the dates were all within the next year, and if you saw, I had staff before Andrew left, but Daniel's seen it. We have a year-long calendar of what months and when we intend on accomplishing said things. That list is this long right now.
That's why we gotta go back to that thing and assign priorities. You can't do it all.
The one
No way.
thing that is hindering most organizations now, and I'd say probably the last 12 to 18 months, is resource challenges. I mean, go look at every fast food restaurant, every organization is hiring. That's where we have to at least plan to be operating at 30% over capacity, which means on average we'll be at capacity, right? We don't want to be under capacity because we're gonna fail. That's where we lose line of sight for vendor accountability, and we're not, doing all this stuff. And we've done a really good job. We've hired some really great people. But I think that's, to your point, things happen. So we have to be planning for, contingencies, and the succession planning, all this stuff, it's critical for us to be
I
successful.
think the easiest thing, Lauren's gonna take this back, she's gonna type this up. But honestly, picking a category and maybe it's quarterly, or maybe everybody's priorities are gonna be different. So if we can generally get consensus and prioritize maybe those 6 categories, and then from that, we can prioritize what you'd like to see done, I think that'll help me, because in my head, I'm compartmentalizing all of these. To me, like the financial viability side, all that's gonna go in tandem with the budgeting cycle, and that budget has a whole process, and that's normally like February to August. But
Yeah, if I can make a couple comments on that too. One of the things, Chelsea, that you have to watch out for is when something new comes in. Like here, somebody brings up this idea, hey, let's do this, you guys have to go back to basics and say, wait, does it fit in the mission? Will this fulfill our vision? And does it fit in our success standards? And if it does not fit in these categories, you got to seriously question, wait.
Why are we doing it?
Yeah, what does this fit? And here's the other thing, Chelsea, I think that, it might be a little hard for you, but I think this is really gonna help is, you might want to add a column to say, goal date and target date for update reports. Because, I think it's hard for us when we put this date out here, November of 2024, plenty of time. But no, a lot has to happen in between that, what has to happen by December 23, and what has to happen by March 1, 2024. So I think in breaking out our goals, we really want to break it out specifically to, have, and I'm sure you do a lot of that already, and especially when it comes to assigning responsibility. Because he has to do this by December so that he can do this by March,
Yeah.
and he can do this by April, so we have to watch for that when you write.
And I think it would be really nice as a follow-up for this, for you and your leadership staff and your next, employee meeting, to talk about what we reviewed. Go over the success means, our main thing. Let's really talk about culture, assign a culture champion, within the district. Because they need to understand what we did here so they can echo all the things that we've implemented. So we have to be on the same page.
How soon will you be able to, how soon will you be able to approve this as a board to be your guidance?
October 5th.
October 5th.
I was gonna say, the board would have to approve all of it
Yeah,
before
yeah.
we could get any of it printed and
Yeah, so
You know,
October
but we can make a
5th.
motion now, but we light Tony up like.
For the nerd.
I can hear your attorney screaming
Hear
at
that,
the
Tony?
wall right now.
Surprised my phone's not ringing.
So, for the October meeting, that's the first meeting in October, right? Okay, so
How do we all-
could we have a workshop where we would go through what you write up and we as a board could prioritize those
In November you can,
during,
at the November workshop you can. You have something scheduled before the closed door session for the October workshop, but
we do?
yes, the November workshop, I think, what we can do, I can get this from you, I can add what I know to be some of our operational things that we have for this upcoming fiscal year, so you guys get a full picture, and send that to you all, you can review it, and then the November, workshop.
I'd like to see you independently of us.
Score what your priority are, and then we would.
Bingo.
We
Okay,
did
Well,
that part, I think
Bingo.
that's.
Because you
that's how
know the man hours it's gonna take to do it, or at least have a good idea. We may not have, we may think it's easy, but in reality is gonna take a lot of time.
okay, we can
We need to
prioritize that.
balance all that,
Well,
to
and
figure
what-
out what we can do.
And what I'm envisioning is a document that incorporates our 2024 priorities, and we identify, like, this is operational, this is part of the CIP, this is this. So we're working on one document.
I like how you have on this example, operations and then stakeholders. Because operations, then they can see the projects and things that we're currently working on, and then, like, maybe it's future, we can
And that's
categorize each.
how we want to eventually break this out. I mean, there will be categories. Like, one of the things we were talking here about was the sense of pride. We were discussing that sense of pride is internal and external. So, that might be two categories, and you have different things underneath those. So there probably will be those subcategories.
And the other one's how we get this on the street, how we get it on the street.
External.
That's critical.
So, but at the October meeting, we can adopt the mission statement, the vision, the success, and our main thing.
And more honestly, I'm not sure you need to worry about the main thing. I mean, you kind of include that in your mission.
The main things are internal.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
right,
that's our internal.
okay.
External is our
Vision and mission.
vision,
Okay.
mission. And then we have our guiding principles, which is really what you call them.
Success standards.
Yeah, your success standards, to me, they're like guiding principles, but again, that's internal as well, but,
But remember, I want you to use that as a checklist. I mean, I want you to review it every now and then and go, are we being successful? Because if we are, this is what's happening.
like, I almost see this, make this and, I mean, all of these things, most importantly, maybe this and the guiding principles, I see them inside the new building,
The new building, yeah.
Got to build it first.
Gotta come up with a PR campaign first.
Such much your new
Well,
building.
If you build it, it will come.
Got to come up
You
with a
need
permit
the
first.
mission and the vision statement along with it,
Yeah.
so everybody can understand where it came from.
It's the what and how.
But also, we need to start speaking the language, which means when we're meeting with constituents, the public, and whatever events we're doing, we need to be making clear what our vision is. Hey, don't you know we're the premier community? Everybody wants to be. I mean, we got to start speaking that.
What have you done for me lately? That's what I hear. When are you gonna fix my street light? When are you gonna fix my pond bank? When are you gonna do
So I will
this?
help you change the
Yeah,
narrative.
yeah.
Yeah, you just can't believe how hard we're working to keep this a premier community. Come to our meeting and see.
Watch it, that boomerang could come back.
I'm a bit of an optimist. So does that answer the question about what we're gonna do next with this? Do we all feel pretty
Yeah.
comfortable with that?
Feel good?
I'm personally thrilled for you. I mean, I think that the vision and mission that you wrote are fantastic, and, the main thing, we know exactly what we all agree, that this is what we need to do. Our main thing, and your success standards are so clear. I mean, I think you've done a fantastic job, and now putting this together this is the detailed stuff that's a little hard, but we did this. And I feel really good about Chelsea. Chelsea, I think you're doing a great job here of leading. I think it's a lot. But I think we'll give you a format that will help you to really get this down and probably to have a working document that you need to.
Look forward to it.
Do you want Excel or Microsoft Word?
It's not.
Got it. Okay. Any other questions or thoughts?
No.
Chelsea, are we
I'm good.
feeling good?
Fine.
Thank you for coming.
Overall,
Thank
good.
you.
Very
Yeah,
well,
Thank you.
very beneficial.
I've really enjoyed working with you all. It's been amazing.
Let's begin.
Yeah.
All right.
Begin.
So are you coming back today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In 6 months.
Yep.
Come back and see if we're still speaking to each other.
We can
Or
always
or
do.
see what color Chelsea's hair is. She was turned gray.
She heard that. Thanks for taking all the time out to do this. I appreciate everybody's patience, being so engaged. Thank you. These are cool maps. Okay.
I wish they were match lined up. You have to go from one map to the other one, and it doesn't line up. It'd be nice to have a, plus, all of this now.
It's all developed.
It's all developed. All this is developed. It'd be nice.
And the new building.
Maybe we should have made that we should have put that
to
on our
have
goal
all
list.
fresh
how many
maps. Is
maps.
it, doesn't Denny have a floor map?
He does.
Which is
Yeah,
really
when you
cool.
walk in,
Yeah,
he-
yeah,
he's got
yeah,
the entire,
Yeah,
Get it
that's
going.
great, yeah.
Yes.
You're like, oh, that's,
It's older, it's older, yeah, because like part of Hammond Park's not developed.
but I do like having a big.
But yeah, that was a neat idea he did.
And I need your signature.
Could we get that where it could be in one?
We should make that one of our goals, guys.
Sign here.
New
There you go.
maps.
Hey, Chelsea, you need to put down our goal, we need updated maps.
Oh, yeah.
We want new maps.
Awesome, we need updated maps.
Virtual.
Hey, and Nancy, next
Run,
next
I'll
Wednesday.
They called me, I got called back. I don't know.
I'm not happy about this at all. They want to meet next Wednesday, 11 or 1. Go over the real estate authority next week.
Okay,
Do you need anything, Riley?
Want to make sure you know about it, so
thank you.
shoot that
11 to 1?
Wednesday, 11 to 1.
Okay. Are they sending a meeting invite? I'll have to look, okay. Let me go.
We were just trying to determine a date we all agreed on. We just did that. So we've just agreed that 11 to 1 Wednesday is a good time for the three of us.
Helps if I take all my stuff.
No, that's good.
11,
11 to 1. And I
That
said,
works
meet
for
at the
me.
Crockett Center.
that was,
Great.
You want to get together on
yeah, I gotta stamp this. And that's the
see
Rocky,
that, right?
Rocky Center. Did you need me or you need him?
Yeah, I had a question for you.
Yes.
So I've got all the quotes together for that skid steer.
Uh-huh.
Should I try to get that on the October 5th? There's a lot of stuff going
I don't care, put it on.
on.
Slide it in there,
Put on consent.
Okay.
No.
Can I lead this meeting? Should I?
Oh, yes, please.